Hey, everybody. Excuse me. Okay, so we'll see if this is streaming all right to Twitter and YouTube and Facebook and all those lovely places before I get too deep into anything. So for anyone who hasn't seen it, today was the cover reveal for Skyfold, my upcoming novella, which launches in 2 weeks. If you're on Twitter, it's the only place I'm doing this. Uh, I've just put out a post where you can put a page number in the comments, and I will reply with a quote from the book. So while I'm streaming right now, I'll be chatting with anyone in the chat. So feel free to post something there, and I'll reply. But I'm also going to be replying to anyone in comments on X, Twitter, Twix, whatever you want to call it. So I'll be, and what I'll do is I'll read the quotes out as I'm choosing them from the book and as I'm posting them, and so we'll have a little fun. You'll get to hear little snippets of the story here, and just before I set up this stream, which I was going to do anyway, to pass some time because I'm still waiting on Amazon to put the pre-order live. They've already reviewed it and approved it, so it's in pre-order publishing mode, which sometimes, from experience, can take 5 minutes, and sometimes it can take hours. That's just been my experience with Amazon publishing now 3 books. So this is book number 4, and I guess it's going to be a few hours this time because it's been in limbo since about 8:30 this morning, so that's okay. I didn't want to put the pre-order live until the cover reveal was done to give SFF insiders and FanFi addicts their chance to put the cover reveal out there. So now that that's happening, it's kind of just limbo while I wait and just have some fun, goof off, and as these things go, uh, it's a publishing day. This is just there's no way I was going to be productive today. Luckily, I'm ahead on my editing work, my paid editing work anyway, not my own. So I can afford to take a day off today. It's kind of nice, and by design because I knew once when you have a book going live, just nothing productive is going to happen. I tried to write this morning. 5 minutes in, I just said, "Hell no, I'm done. That's not happening." So then I tried to pivot to editing, and that wasn't happening. Probably a good thing. I don't want to, when you're working with someone else's work, there's even more responsibility. So you want to be at your best, which I always try to keep in mind. Yeah. So yeah, today has been a weird bit of limbo. A lot of work on the book and a lot of work managing the cover reveal and reposting and commenting and review copies are available, so I've been responding to anyone asking in DMs for those or asking in comments on X, uh, and I'm keeping an eye on my phone for anyone asking on other platforms, but just the way it is, most people I know, uh, yeah, like, as far as I can tell, the only people who've asked for copies have been on X and DMs or comments, so that makes my life easy. I kinda like when everything is just in one place. So I do have a link tree now, though. I figured now that I have 2 books live, again, I have too many links and social platforms and things to manage, including this channel with Isaac. So I figured it was finally time. So I finally bit the bullet. So Bo, if you're around, I finally did it. You'll be I hope you're happy for me. I finally got a link tree so people can access those whenever. Um, Anyways, yeah, so forgive me if I'm a bit distracted while I'm doing this because I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between talking to you and having fun with people on X. But yeah, so without further ado, though, I just before this, like I said, I got the paperback. The interior file is almost identical, so I'm fairly certain the hardcover is fine. If this is fine, it's kind of just all I need to do for a check. But I do have the hardcover coming. It's just I think it's going to be another week, which is a bit close to the wire if I need to make any adjustments before the actual publishing date of August 15th. But I have 2 weeks. Like, anyways, it's going to be okay. But from a quick cursory glance, everything looks good in the paperback. I'm really happy with it. So this is how it turned out. Here is my little. The story itself is 82 pages. Skyfold fantasy heist novella. That's all I'm calling it on Amazon as kind of a subtitle. It's a fantasy heist novella. It is meant to introduce a series. It very much stands on its own, though. I designed it that way. I mean, it ends with a banger that opens up this whole new possibility for what comes next. But I meant for this to be a satisfying, kind of stand on its own story. just a quick bite-sized morsel. 8 chapters. They're all medium sized, but all broken up into sections. And so, for example, you can see what I did here. Windagger, who designed the sections for me. Um, you've got a wolf, and you've got snakes on one side, some flames and shadows in between. And let me see if I can get it nice and close for you all. So you've got the same Triskelion. Sorry, it's a bit unfocused, but the same Triskelion kind of symbol. Trust me, it looks much better in person. So sorry, forgive the blur. But anyways, yeah, like he Rob did an excellent job on those. And same thing with um I have another one. I've shown it, when I've shown it on X, I don't mind showing it here. Uh so I got that section break done by Windagger, and he also designed the chapter icons, so chapter icons as well, that are there for the whole thing. And you've got a bit of a it's the end of the chapter there. I could reverse this for you all, but anyways, you get the idea. So fun chapter icons. They're very symbolic, emblematic, not just of the story, but of something you'll encounter later in the story. And then yeah, and the other awesome chapter icon that Windagger did for me was this one here. I've only included it in this book on the acknowledgements page, so make sure you read those. But especially all my author friends, I try to mention per like most, if not all, of those who've really been instrumental the last few years and to this story in particular. So fun little dragon symbol, but I can tell there are dragons in this story ish, and that's all I really want to say. And it's the dragons I do include are I don't want to give too much away, but I swore I would never use this kind of dragon, and I had to in this story. That's all I can say, and it's a bit of an homage to something in my childhood. And that was by my this story is meant. It ended up being a little heavier than I intended when I went in, but it is meant to be just good fun. So a much lighter tone overall than the Fall of Sylvandria and the Dramer Chronicle books. Those are by design darker, and I kind of want this in the series to follow to be lighter. So this has heavier moments for sure. So don't go in thinking it's all happy go lucky. But yeah, and then the series to come, it might as the characters age. I want there to be more maturity and depth. Once you see in a lot of series that start with younger characters, this book doesn't. Their kids, though, are the main characters of the series to follow. I don't think that's a spoiler. And so it's going to have a lighter-hearted approach following these 9 to 10-year-old kids going, yeah, syrup dragon. Well, if anyone watched the Bob Doug episode on Bald and Balding, our Canadian creature, oh come on, creature design. What's the Isaac? You're watching. What are those episodes called? Creature creation. Yeah, never mind. I got it. Creature creation. We did a Canadian creature creation. Came up with the Bob Doug. Not quite, but kind of close to my weird dragons in this. So yeah, I don't think I will probably someday write a book without a dragon, but as it stands, that doesn't seem to happen. I'm not even sorry. I'm not. You know, these are very different dragons, but it just tends to be the way it is. Uh, they sneak into my books. So even the prequel I'm writing right now to the Fall of Sylvandria, um, well, I call it a prequel, but it's another standalone novella. It might be bigger than a novella as it's going right now. Uh, yeah, it's going to be tough to keep it under 40,000 words, just based on the outline and based on how much I've written so far. So it could sneak into that limbo space between 40 and 60K. I'd be okay with that because it is fantasy horror is how this prequel is coming. It's how I'm designing it. It's how the story is meant to be. Um, yeah, and again, like even there's I won't there's dragon things. Can't say more than that. But if you've read The False Sylvandria, you know there's dragons in this world, so that shouldn't be a surprise. How it comes across in this story is going to be very different. But yeah, and it's also I'm calling it almost a standalone more than a prequel because it's written so differently. Same thing with Skyfold. Like you probably I think if you've read my other stuff, you'll know it's the same author, but barely because I really tried uh to to mirror what I've seen in a lot of really good short stories. just a different approach that packs more of a punch within little space. So you have to use more exposition. You have to use much more character development in very small space. I had a bit of a habit with the Fall of Savandria of spreading things out and leaving mysteries for later. Whereas this, everything hits you in the face and it never stops. But you get a lot more depth to the world packed into much smaller space. Whereas Falls of Angio was a very complex world, but spread out, and and I think maybe a little confusing for for because of those decisions. I like books like that, but I don't think it's how I'm going to write going forward, to be honest. So Skyfold represents kind of a first, not a attempt. I think I pulled it off, so it's not the right word, but it's a first foray into, I think, a better direction. Very curious to hear what people think once they've read it and heard it. Um, so like I've told everyone online, the audiobook is ready, as well as the paperback, ebook, and hardcover. So everything, well, the ebook and the physical copies will go live on the 15th. And I'm gonna have to see now that the pre-order once the pre-order is live, I'm gonna have to confirm with ACX whether I'm able to start the process for the audiobook right away, or I might have to wait until the 15th to start, and then maybe I'll be able to have it. So it could be as late as 2 weeks after, but that's still pretty okay. Rather than waiting months and months for the audiobook, you should be able to get the audiobook for Skyfold within just a few weeks of publishing. So for those of you who are audiobook only or immersion readers and like both, you won't have to wait long. Promise. Like I said, it's already done, and I think I did an even better job recording this. I had some new software, some new editing tricks that I tried out. So it took a little more time per chapter, but I think it came out much more polished than the Fall of Sylvandra's audiobook, which I've only gotten like a lot of really good comments as far as the editing and the quality. I've gotten comment after comment saying like if anything, people were surprised. That's good. I was really worried. I wanted to do it myself, but there's an expectation of quality you have to aspire to. So it comes with some stress, but also fun stress. I like that. And I want to just keep getting better and trying again and again until I am able to very much compete with, top notch narrators. That probably will never mean full narration as in character voices. I try to vary my voice. I've talked about this before, but I don't go for totally unique voices. It's still meant to feel like an author reading. So same thing with Skyfold. You don't expect totally unique voices between characters, but you'll know it's a new character speaking. Um, anyways, yeah, okay. So let's have a little more fun with everyone online. I'm gonna pull out some snippets from the book now, and based on people asking for page numbers. Okay, so yeah, so Jared Lee's asked for a quote from page 57, and this one I responded to right before coming online. Um, this is great. So the quote I posted was Merrick. I gave two sentences because one little short one wouldn't be fair. So I said, Merrick grinned. Of course, the fool would tell Miriam. That's all you need to know for now. To which Jared replied, "There's always someone who can't keep their mouth shut." Shake my head, and I'm like, "Yep," and that's the point. So you've got a little character manipulation here. One who really uh, gets pushed around by another character, and as a result, can't keep his mouth shut. And the smart people know how to play that to their advantage. So a little fun there. Again, lots of fun little deception going on. Lots of planning and backstabbing and scheming, and even characters who are on the same side have their own agendas. So it's a very, again, lots packed into little space. Multi-layered heist was what I was going for, with more going on than meets the eye. Okay, next. So answering Kate, we have page 17. So I'll open it here and then I'll find it in the document, just copy and paste it in. Page 17. There we go. What do we got? Okay. Yes, we got lots of monsters and beasts packed in this. So we got a monster scene here. Uh, there's a nice little teaser. I'll just, yeah, I mean, I could give more of the action, but no, I'll say uh, a quote from a character saying, "I suppose you've never seen a basilisk, huh?" asked Riven, and I'm just going to leave it at that. So basilisks. There's your first little exposure to some of the beasts and creatures. Okay, let me quickly copy that over from page 17. What do we got? Scrolling down. Give me a second here. This is fun. I got this idea initially from, I think, Tim Wolf was the first person I ever saw do this, and I thought it was a fantastic idea. Give snippets from the book. So it's a fun little way, and it looks like a lot of people are asking for these quotes. So might be busy for the next little while. And again, I am just here, wasting away time waiting for that stupid Amazon to finally put the book up, and then I will let you all know when pre-orders are ready. Coming soon, hopefully coming soon. Okay, what do we have next? Um, this one, okay, of course. So Isaac here has asked for the answer to all of life's mysteries. 42. So what do we got? Oh, there's barely any words on this page. So that should be nice and easy. Um, hmm. I could cheat, but that really doesn't reveal anything. Yeah, and Isaac has already read this too. So okay, I'm gonna give. I don't. Hopefully, this doesn't give anything away, but it's a good quote to give. So, from page 42 of Skyfold, malevolence revealed at last, so terrible it brought a cry of terror from Cabot's lungs, mercifully masked by the returning chants of the assembly. Yeah, I don't think that reveals. Hey, we're good. We're good. Nothing. Nothing revealed. So, okay, I'm going to copy that in so anyone on X can see it. 42. That'll be easy to find and copy. Let's see. And if anyone's watching on YouTube or on X, let me know in the comments if this is coming in blurry or lagging or anything like that. Sometimes just with my setup, if I have too much open, it really lags on Restream, at least from the studio end. When guests are on, theirs don't seem to lag as much. Could be a problem with my system, or it could just be because the studio, the back end, takes a little more on the system. Um, okay, what do we got? Oh, that's really easy to find. End of chapter 4, page 42. Here we go. Malevolence revealed at last. Cool. All right, who's next? Yeah. Okay, page 11. Let's see. RH in the house. Oh, yeah. Sorry to hear. Sorry to hear, RH. Yeah. Um, well, keep us posted. Yeah. Oh man. And thank you, of course, for the support. But yeah, priorities, absolute priorities. So um okay. Check messages really quick. That is definitely, oh man, author life. The moment you mention that you are an author in a public setting online, scam bots. So many scam bots. Um yeah, so okay, so page 11. Page 11 was what I was looking for next. Let's get to it. Okay. Uh I gotta say, I like these little bite. I like novellas. I'm actually completely sold now. I wasn't sure how I'd feel in the end, but you know, the layout's awesome. The size, like it's just a bite-sized but complete story, satisfying, and it exercises a different muscle of your brain as an author to work on shorter pieces. I think, an easy way around that is just to end with a cliffhanger and have a story broken into chunks, but I really wanted to give something a full arc, a full story arc in less space as a way to challenge myself and keep growing as an author. And the goal is with the next novella as well, same thing, and to keep refining those skills and build back up to longer novels that pack more of a punch per page. That's kind of the end goal. So I am going to do the sequel to The Falls of Andrea after the novella I'm working on right now, and then probably another two novellas. I think is the plan. So it might be 2 to 3 novellas, one long book, 2 to 3 novellas, one long book for at least the next year to really, one, to just get more out there and to really hone my craft. So this is kind of a workshopping year in my mind, um, which so far has been rewarding. Okay, so page 11. Uh, yeah, the very first quote. I have to go with it. So this is a fair warning to anyone watching. I mean, if you know me, a few people make fun of me for how little I swear, right? So uh, now then again, I swear too little for a lot of people I know, and too much for others. Like I go to family dinners, and my cousin and I. This was only like 2 or 3 years ago. We're both, full grown adults, and I forget what we were talking about. We must have both dropped a few too many f bombs, and we don't swear that much. We really don't. I don't think. And but our parents, are all either currently evangelical or come from like very not just religious backgrounds, but like our grandparents were missionaries, were missionaries in India, and then ministers in Nova Scotia and New Brunswick and the Maritime provinces here in Canada. So with that influence, even those of our parents who are no longer of the fold, so to speak, will still have very traditional values, and that definitely gets reflected. So if they catch you swearing, you get at the very least, you get a little, I'm really shocked how I'm trying to, I almost want to get the quote exactly right. I'm really, they're not disappointed. It wasn't disappointed. They're shocked by by how much you and your cousin were swearing at dinner today. And I had to really struggle to think back to what I had said that earned the little bit of scorn there. So I don't swear that much, but there is some. I think in all my books, this is probably the foulest I get, and it's not like I say foul. That's not the right word. This is as far as I go, so it's just really funny that I landed on the page where I intentionally went a little further. Because the most you'll get in a book from me is like damn and bastard. Usually those are my two go-tos that I like dropping in my books just for kicks, and when it fits the character and the situation. But in this case, this fit the situation, and so I just have to read it out loud, and it's funny. So I almost want to give context to this, but I won't. That's the rule. I have to just give the sentence as it is. So it's cab, cabs, or cabot, you insufferable little prick, said Cabot. There you go. There it is. So I really loved that. And yeah, it reminded, I won't even give context to that. It's just a funny line. So I feel like that came from not lived experience, observed experience is how I'll say it. So, I don't, oh, all authors draw to some extent from experience, but this one was just pure good fun. And I'll leave it at that. All right, copying that in. There we go. Probably didn't need to repeat the well, no, I think I had to in the context. So, anyways, yeah, it's cabs, or cabot, you insufferable little prick. I probably shouldn't find that as amusing as I do, but again, that is as far as language goes in my books in general. I keep them clean. I even talk about this book. I keep them clean. I keep the language low, and the violence. Now, in the horror book I'm working on, the violence is upped a little bit for sure. Uh, Probably to the edge of gruesome without being overly descriptive. It's definitely not like some horror I've read, and it's definitely not like Game of Thrones, or it's still tame by some metrics, but um like, yeah, I don't think it's going to offend most people, the horror one I'm working on, but it wouldn't be for everyone. That's the point. Whereas in this, violence is pretty tame overall. There is some, but less than the Fall of Sylvandria, excuse me. um Yeah, and I describe the book as in the taglines I've used for it. I describe there being lust, love, and deceit, or love, lust, and deceit is the order I used, and I think that works. Um, yeah, but it's not smut by any reach. I like E.L. Lyons likes to describe her stories as steamy, not spicy. My book is less steamy than hers by a mile, and she's very careful about that. So I feel pretty safe. So it's fun. There are fun elements. There's more romance in this than I normally than I've tried before, and I enjoyed writing it. I thought it worked, and it's essential to the story itself. So, again, this year is all about testing my muscles, so to speak, as an author. And this series, I'm probably not going to write the next book for another year. I have other things planned for this year. Um, like, I mean, all the way till mid 2026. But when I get to mid 2026, the goal is to do the next book in this series probably for next fall. Um, and there's going to be more playfulness, like the younger characters, some more humor, more playfulness, more of that brighter tone, more romance coming later in their lives. So probably like books 2 3, not right away. Well, you know I want to drop the hints of like the hints of expectation, like my two main characters. I don't think it's spoiling. Like you're meant to expect romance there, and yet, as a good story goes, of course it's all going to go to hell, and things don't go the way you expect. Not a spoiler. uh, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a fun. It's going to be fun to get back to this story. It's going to be a bit. So read this for now as a standalone to see if it's your kind of, and vote with your comments, your reviews, your ratings, because that's going to be big for me too. Is I'm going to see if what I've learned and how I've grown as an author over the last year and a half has actually borne fruit. If not, I'm going to have to keep, reevaluating, keep growing. Um, you know, and I have to admit, just a side note, I hear a lot of authors talk about, if you start a series, you better see it through. Don't be the next, G.R.R. Martin. Don't be the next, what's his name? Everyone always complains about that other series that never finished. And I'm like, okay, but everyone loved the first few books, right? So yeah, it makes sense that to put pressure on those authors to finish those books, the audience wants them, and you leave us hanging. But if the demand isn't there, I might put out like this. I'm fairly certain people are going to want the next book for sure. It's probably going to start annoying me by the end of the year when people are like, "Why haven't you done the next book yet?" I'll be like, "It's coming. I have other things to do," but it will. So this one, yeah, I am going to write the sequel to this. But if I were to do something like this again, where I write a prequel or the first book to a potential series, I don't I don't necessarily like I am going to judge whether I continue that series based on how it's received. If I continue writing it, it might just be in my own time if it seems like it's not marketable at the time. Some people look at that and they say, "Oh, well, then you're not a real author," or, "Oh, you need to see the series through, or people won't trust you." Like, no, people trust me. I think to put out the best I can do and to put out what they're actually interested in. Because if I'm just doing it for me, I can read that on my own time. I don't have to publish it. Like this is a relationship between, you know, m- between me as an author and you as a reader. So I don't know. So I'm not as I think legalistic about series commitments as some people I talk to. I like having more than one series on the go. That's how I'll end this little rant. The nice thing about this, just the moment I clicked publish, it's like a weight off my shoulders because now I can mood write, not just mood read. I can work on when I need an uplifting, fun, engaging story, I can work on this. And when I need like something with a darker edge, I can jump into the Draymare Chronicle. And then when I need, more I don't want to get too into it, but honor among thieves kind of story, but with definitely a horror edge incorporated as well. That's going to probably be one of the next books I work on. Like I'm going to open doors and options so that I can work on different things as the mood strikes. I like to do one project at a time. Um, so like, yeah, right now is the exception to that, where I've taken a back seat from the sequel to The Fall of Sylvandria to do this, because my gosh, did I need like a change of pace. I'm loving the sequel, but there's a story there. I talked about it on our episode with Eamon H. Bradley. I might have said it in the background or before we went live. I think I said it on stream as well. So yeah, it's been an interesting year for sure. Life events outside of writing that impacted my writing pace for sure, and just made me step back for a while out of necessity. I used that time productively. I was still very actively reading and editing and doing writing adjacent tasks to keep honing my skills. Um, but yeah, anyway, so I'm committed right now to opening doors to other paths so that I'm not bound by just a single series and a single trajectory, especially if people are saying, okay, really liked this, but I've seen a lot of books do well, especially, yeah, I've seen a lot of first books do well, and then the series itself bottoms out right after. Not something I want to do with the Draymar Chronicles. So I want to keep honing my craft and work up towards a series that's really going to stand and explode on its own. Um, I think based on the quality of the sequel that's coming, I anticipate that long term, the fall of Sylvandria and what follows, like they're going to continue doing well. I think people are going to like those who enjoyed the first book. I think are really going to enjoy the second book. I think it gets much better. Um, and hopefully that will bring renewed interest back to the fall of Sylvandria. Long term, I don't think it's going to be my flagship series. It's kind of where I'm at right now. Um, I think people love the cover, and I think I love the story, and I have a bunch of committed readers who really love the story. But in terms of widespread appeal, there are things I did that I understand why I get some of the critiques I do. There's been a lot of positive. There's been a lot of whoa, that's a lot going on. And I love those kinds of stories, but they're not for everyone. And some of those stories, it takes years before people come back to them and say, "Oh, that is good." Once they see where it's going. So yeah, I don't wanna have all my eggs in one basket, let's say. That's how I'll put it right now. For now, that's why I'm expanding beyond just The Fall of Savandria and beyond just that series. Um, yeah, I don't think that's a viable path going forward, and it would also be financially very difficult, just to be frank, because those covers ain't cheap. They're absolutely worth every penny, but they're not cheap, and the art on the inside, I wanna keep, hiring Joe to do interior art as well as the covers, and that just adds up. Same thing with cover or, chapter icons, things like that that I want to add. I want to add some formatting flourishes that weren't in the first book. Some changes on that front too. Like this book, for example, I used I think a much more accessible font. Well, it's going to be too blurry to show, but it's Cambria, I believe I used. So a much more accessible serif font, but still comfortable enough. I wanted something, more accessible than a lot of the really uh, harder to read serif fonts, but not so far as the sans serif font that I used for the Fall of Savandria. So, you know, um, yeah, because that's another thing I got some complaints about. Some people loved it, some people really hated it. Whereas I think this is just people. Ideally, people won't notice the font. That's what I'm going for with things like that. So anyways, yeah, the idea is get people just focused on the story. And that's the idea, even with this cover, a simpler cover, one I really love, but I want people to judge this by its story first for a change. I know that's not how the real market works, but it's kind of what I'm hoping for. I want to, just build a small base of reviewers who say, whoa, this packed a punch. And then I'll build up from there. The goal is eventually to get a new cover done, but that's going to be like a year from now, probably. Realistically, I'd rather use that money to get the next Draymar Chronicle book done. So the next cover for this series will be closer to this. That's kind of my goal. So other series I work on are going to have simpler, iconic covers, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's a bit of a money game right now. It's been an interesting year, but a good one. It's more just I have so much on the go right now that it's hard to balance it all. And doing things that are more lucrative means taking time away from the actual writing and editing tasks, some of which still bring in great money, but not enough to finance, bigger covers on top of just living expenses. What a novel idea, pun intended, for authors. Anyways, yeah. So life's been interesting. Okay, one new message. Yeah. Some fun chats back and forth with authors today. It's been great. Okay. What's this one I'm going for? Page one. Did I give a page one? No, I didn't. Okay, so next request, next excerpt from the book. Oh, and some of you, not all of you, but some of you will absolutely be, pleased to know there is a index and pronunciation guide. Um, uh, actually, for kicks, I'm going to read the note I left on this. I always leave something like this. I did for the pronunciation guide in the Falls of Andria, but it's a little more thorough in this one. So here is the note I left for readers in the index or above the index. I said, if you're reading this book without the audiobook, God help you. I'm kidding. Here's everything you need to know, some basic information about key characters, places, and fantasy elements to the story ahead, and pronunciations for all but the most obvious terms. As ever, you have my absolute blessing, even encouragement, and get on with enjoying the good stuff. Come back. This index is not a substitute for actually reading the book. Sorry, I liked that. So hopefully some people will notice that and get a laugh out of it. But I throw in a few Easter eggs like that in this book elsewhere as well. And in the novella I'm working on, I throw in a really snarky comment somewhere just to get a rise out of people. I think some will enjoy it, some won't, and that's fine. It was more for me and to get a laugh out of some people who I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I could cheat. Um, Yeah, I could cheat and just give the opening quote. Page 1. Oh, yeah, no, there's a better quote. Okay, so the quote I'm gonna give is not the opening line of the story. I'm gonna give a few lines down. It's just the line, "The kind of rain even gods know to fear." Just leave it at that. There we go. That's a good one. Page 1. Da, da, da. Cool. Nice little sentence fragment for you. Which, fancy that, are perfectly acceptable in fiction. Some people abuse them, and you have to do them right. Yeah, half of my editing is just being like, no, that fragment is no, that's you know, like Bob went to the is not an acceptable sentence fragment. you know, you know, to the park would be, if the sentence before said, uh Bob, you know, left his apartment. Now I'm trying to think. You have to set it up, and then you could have a fragment underneath to the park. So you put special emphasis on his destination, but you can't just have Bob went to and trail the sentence off. And I think sometimes those are just errors that I catch in books I read, but sometimes it feels like it's intentional because it happens so often. So you wonder how did the author miss this, or did they do this thinking it was um, provocative? Uh, because it's just confusing if you make us fill in those blanks. Anyways, yeah. Well, it's just bad grammar. At that point, it's a failure of grammar. It's not clear communication. Um, and I do come across examples like that a lot. Probably just from a few of the same authors I've read who do it enough that I'm like, okay, I might have to take a step back from reading your stuff for a while because it's a lot. And I'm not talking pre-editing. I'm talking published after having paid thousands of dollars to editors, and they somehow skipped that. Anyways, yeah, don't get me ranting about grammar things I find all the time. Okay, kind of rain, even gods know to fear. Page 1. Bingo. Okay, page 34. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna cheat. Well, no, I'll keep using the physical copy. This is fun. This is an excuse for me to double check that all the formatting is good as well, even though I've already given it a quick cursory look through. And I think later today I'm going to reread the whole thing. Keeping an eye out for anything formatting or spelling and grammar and all that might have snuck in that I didn't catch. But I've done a few read throughs at this point of these documents at least to make sure they're good. Um, Found one little formatting hiccup in the ebook that I had to switch, and it was just something that only applied to the ebook conversion. It didn't affect the physical copies, but little things like that, you have to check. You really do have to pay very close attention. Um, all part of the game. But I like the formatting side of it. I'm one of the weirdos. I talk to people who complain about formatting and complain about editing, and I love those stages as not as much as writing, but they're fun. They're the build up to the crescendo, which is publishing, which is putting your work out for others to enjoy. Um, and finding those little things that make it just a little bit better, it feels like a step in the right direction. There's that dopamine hit that I get at least when I know I've taken a step closer to quality and to putting something out there that people will appreciate. All right, 34. Yeah, that'd be cheating. Go with that. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, there's a fun one. Okay, here's a good quote. I won't say who's saying this, but yeah. Uh, Pray tell why you saw fit to stain this holy citadel with blood of the forsaken. Little ominous tone in there. Yeah, bit heavy-handed, but from the character, I think it was appropriate. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. Okay, 34. That's my 34 quote. I think that one works. Um, nope, chapter 4. Yes. Okay, so we're back to chapter 34 here. Sorry, chapter 4, page 34. Um, yes. Okay. Let's see who's next. Oh, come on. I just skipped over a bunch of people who Stephen McDougal. I hope I'm saying or Dougal McDougal. I want to say Dougal. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But yeah, you may or may not be watching this right now. I don't know, but awesome dude. Great writer. I've had the privilege of beta reading some upcoming stuff from Stephen, and oh my, oh my, fellow Canadian and Flintlock fantasy. So of course I'm a fan. And oh, wow. I'm excited for this to go live. I'll be one of the first buy I'll be the if I can, I'll be the first buyer, of the full book. Very, very good quality. I mean, for a first like, it's not even for a first time book to be putting out there. Like, this delivers. Just the 3 chapters I read, they were long chapters, but they delivered. So, yeah, very excited. Anyway, so what Steven said as a comment under the cover reveal post was looking good sir. Love the color scheme and the epic music. The only this was about Bob's so Blue Smoke Books and Cooks Bob for SFF Insiders, their cover reveal video that he did for me, which looks so good, so good. I love their cover reveals. And so Steven was commenting under that. So he said, looking good, sir. Love the color scheme and the epic music. So from the video. The only thing I don't like is that Skyfold would have made a perfect title for my book. Sucker. I was genuinely shocked that no one had taken the title Skyfold. Uh, just there was one I found one like kids book AI written by the looks, but I think it said it was AI written, AI cover, and it was like something a something Skyfold something book, and I was like, oh well, yeah, okay, that doesn't count. So I don't feel like it's on like no one else used Skyfold anywhere in their cover or sorry in their titles. I think there's a song that I know there's a song called Skyfall, but no, I found someone made a song called Skyfold, totally like some obscure song somewhere on Amazon that popped up when I searched for Skyfold as a book. Anyway, so I do feel like I got very lucky. Part of the reason I I didn't rush writing this, and I definitely didn't rush editing it. I went through all my usual, pretty harrowing processes to get this, to the quality that I want in my books. Um, but it was some of the I was like maybe I put more pressure on myself to get more out sooner because I wanted to publish this uh, faster than usual for 2 reasons. Number one, Sphinx coming up. I'm entering Skyfold into Sphinx. So the publication date, you have to have published by August 31st to enter Sphinx on September 6th, I believe is the entry date. So that was part of the reason for getting this out as quickly as I did. So that's part of why the pre-order process is only 2 weeks. Speaking of, let me do a quick refresh and see if it's live. It is not. So we're good. Anyways, yeah, the second reason I was eager to publish this quickly was because I thought, I want to get this out before anyone takes the title Skyfold. And the moment I thought of it for this story, and it absolutely is 100% appropriate for the story. I named things in the story not just based on the title, but the title is because of the name I wanted for this particular aspect of the world. And anyways, I immediately, when I had that title in mind, I slapped it on my documents, hit save, and copied so that in my files, in my version histories, it is 100% provable. This is my darn title, and I posted it under my bio on social media, Skyfold, work in progress. So everybody on the internet knew this is my title. You can't have it. And then I published, now I'm publishing it as soon as possible. So there you go. Skyfold's mine now. There you go. You can't have it. I mean, people publish the same books under the same titles all the time, so it doesn't really matter. But I like that I got to it first. That feels pretty darn good because it feels like an obvious title, but it works for mine, and I wanted it. So that's right. I beat you to it. Whoever wants it. Steven in this case. So Steve, yes, it's even better that his name is Steve because everyone knows my history with the Steves of the world. So I beat you. I beat you, Steve. It's terrible. All the Steves I do know in real life are just wonderful people. Yeah, Steve is absolutely a placeholder name for Steve. You know who you are. Okay, do we have any more page number requested? Did I answer 34? Yeah, I did. Good. Yeah. Pray tell why you saw fit to stain this holy citadel with blood of the Forsaken. Yeah. That's one case where I would love no, you would need voice effects to nail the voice of that character without saying more. There's more at play. That'd be cool. It would have been cool to maybe play around with some effects to get that right. Like genuinely, you would need digital effects to pull off what's described in the book, and there's a reason for that. There's more going on with that character, a few characters than you first realize. Okay. Uh, Very cool. Yeah, it's been great. The support today has been awesome. Genuine, just being upfront here. I very much wanted an iconic, cover for this book. And I'd seen similar covers done by Get Covers that were done very well. And I thought like it's the aesthetic I want, and I've seen that they can do it well. And I just had some requests that I hadn't seen from them as much that I made, like for example, the borders. They nailed the borders, I thought, for this. I think it looks really darn good, back and front. They added a bit more. You can see it on the back here, more gradient effect on the back, and I love that. I like their decision. I think it would have been too distracting to do more of that on the front. As is the title and the icon really grab the eye. Like even when it's small on the Amazon page, you look at it and it's like, oh yeah, people are going to see this cover, and hopefully they'll see Fantasy Heist and immediately click because who doesn't want a good Fantasy Heist story, right? Anyways, that was the idea. Simple but eye catching. But I worried with something like a cover reveal, just experience and talking to other authors, especially in the indie world, illustrated covers are always going to outperform. That seems the norm. Some exceptions, but like everyone is spending huge amounts of money on, illustrated covers because it seems to be what works. Just being honest about the dynamics. So it's something you keep in mind when you publish. You're like, okay, I'm publishing a novella. Some novellas do really well, some don't. So this might not, get much traction. Fantasy Heist seems to have a lot of appeal, and it was a very fun story to write. So I'm very confident those who read this will love it. But just for initial marketing, it felt like limbo to me. Like dark fantasy is my comfort zone. This is very much me trying something new and loving it. But I didn't know how it would land with my current audience who know me for dark fantasy, right? And it's not an illustrated cover. Everyone online knows me for my awesome Joe Requesa, the Falls of Andrea cover and the illustrations he did for the inside. So I even got comments today being like, "Where's the Joe Requesa cover?" And I was like, "Coming, like maybe a year from now." Again, if this does well, I would love to give it an appropriate. I already have the illustration in mind that will go on a new cover down the road. So bear in mind that, yeah, like someday My dream would be to replace this cover with an illustrated one down the road. Not yet. Absolutely not yet. So I'm going to give this cover its proper run. Um, right now, again, I want to use the money for illustrations for the other series. But I would love to give this an illustrated cover. It's just right now I couldn't, which meant I was worried about how this cover reveal would go. This is an awesome community, but because of drama, there are ups and downs, and I feel like there's been a bit of a slump, and with engagement on social media, it's just felt less lately, especially on X. I've definitely seen a downward, drop in engagement, except for in certain groups. If I post there, it seems like engagement, comes right back. So it's hit or miss. Could depend on the day. But yeah, I was genuinely going in today thinking this cover reveal might not do that well. This pre-order might not do that well. I have to be braced for that. And I know the story stands. I know it's a kick-ass story. Like frankly, okay. Now I've said this in one or two other places, so I don't mind saying it here. Like this tops the Fall of Savandria. Uh easy. And I love the Fall of Savandria. I don't mind bragging about my own work. Anyone who says otherwise, kiss my ass. Like, sorry, like it's like I love that book. I do, and I will defend it to my dying breath. This is better. So if you liked that, you will absolutely no, like because it's different. If you prefer that genre and don't necessarily want like a more playful fantasy heist, this might not be for you. But if you just want a story to judge it based on quality alone, and you're looking for a fresh breather, which is what this novella was designed to be, like just in terms of storytelling, character development, pacing, a lot of different elements that I put a lot of work into, like mastering with this story. I think it stands on its own, you know, just on a lot of different levels as a better work than I've done to date. Maybe with the exception of what I'm working on right now. We'll see how it turns out. It's a very fun challenge diving into just straight up horror in a fantasy setting. So it's still epic fantasy, but horror. And I want to make sure I get that right. Like it's not dark fantasy, it's horror. And I'm building, there's been little hints of the horror so far, but I'm building up to a certain crescendo, and from then on, it's just chaos. And I'm trying to get that right. It's been an interesting challenge, but a very, very fun story. And the characters. Like, yeah, the fun thing about certain characters is they give you a chance to explore the psychology of people you've been around but don't quite understand. And that was something I wanted to do. I had a very specific character in mind, like I the character in this story and their relationship to some other characters, and from my own personal life, multiple people in different circumstances. I never I create caricatures, but I never just pull one person and put them on the spot in my books. That's not ethical, and but I do like to maybe draw little hints from experiences I've had. This is a particular character that draws from several things I've observed over the course of my life that I didn't always understand. And as I'm writing this story, the level of empathy and insight that comes with writing a character and really diving in, it's been a very fun challenge. It's also been really rewarding because wow, uh, yeah, you know, it's like the dark descent is all I can tell you. It's very much meant to be like, I don't want it to be not. I saw a post the other day on X, someone talking about we see all these books that are showing nihilistic dark descents, without any hope. And I'm like, okay, not what well, this is horror. And I've seen horror that turns around at the last second into a hopeful message. Because it's a prequel to another dark book, it probably is not going to be like that. Fair warning, but I think the ending is going to be satisfying. And long term, throughout the rest of the series, is there hope for this character and a few others in the story? Is there hope? I don't know. I really don't know. Um, and maybe that means I'm a little nihilistic, but I don't think so. Like in this case, it's just when I think about the people, multiple people in my life that some of these characters represent, is there hope? I don't know. I'm rooting for them. I genuinely am. But that's the struggle of life. Is sometimes you see people go through these challenges and you're rooting for them, but you genuinely don't know who's going to make it and who isn't. And you're hoping that somehow you can get through to them. And they're, you know, and sometimes you're that person. Sometimes someone's hoping to get through to you and they don't know how, you know, and it's kind of like that. There's a message of how do you break through the walls to someone who needs to hear something, but by circumstance and character and coincidence of life, you know, it's difficult to cross those divides between us. Kind of what I'm exploring in the next book. Anyways, so that's been fun. Um, yeah. Okay. Is there anyone else? Oh, screw off. So Aaron Lind responded to the same post with 3.1, you know, with pi. So I guess page 3. Let's like literally just going on indefinitely. Troll. Okay, page 3. Let's give a quote from page 3. Um, yeah, okay, there we go. A little bit of the promised lust without it being smut, obviously. Again, steamy, not spicy. Um, I'll leave that for the reader to find. Um, yeah, okay, so let's see. Um, darn it. Oh, it's on the previous page. Yeah, shoot. Would have been a really good quote from the one before that would have worked without giving too many. I don't want to give too many spoilers here, but um, oh, this is a tough page. This is a tough page to pull a quote from. I figured a few pages would be like this, but all of them are kind of tied to context. Okay, well, yeah, it's not the strongest quote. Well, it gives more world building than I want to create mystery with these quotes rather than give too much away. Um, Okay, no, there's you see, okay, yeah, I'm not going to give too much away. I'm going to give a mysterious quote. So, the one I've chosen, strange to depend on their power even now, on the day they meant to forsake their masters once and for all. Mysterious, doesn't give too much away. There was another one I could have chosen. Um, yeah, no, too much, too much. So, yeah, that's the quote I'm going to go with. Okay, page 3. Let's see. Scrolling down, there we go. Okay. Bingo. Sorry. Okay, copy and paste. Bingo. Okay. Strange to depend on their power even now, on the day they meant to forsake their masters once and for all. Good. Okay, what's next? Hmm, great. I love this. I made a post. I don't know if anyone's. Oh, most people. I'm actually shocked. This post and another one I made today got more traction than the cover reveal posts themselves, which made me laugh. So I made a post above. I quoted the cover reveal video by SF Insiders Bob, um, and I said. The algorithm and our evil overlords don't want you to see this epic cover reveal. It's conspiracy, I tell you. But together we can defeat these foul tyrants. Share, like, and sing Bob's praises in the comments. Light the beacons. Don't let evil win this day. Anyways, corny as heck, but it gave me a laugh. I hoped it would give a laugh to others, and that's getting a bunch of reposts and likes and comments now. So it's always funny to watch. Um, Come on. What's the quote? So someone just commented 96. The challenge was give me a number between 1 and 82, and I'll give you a post from a quote from that page because there are 82 pages. So you had one job to do. That's what I want to say. You had one job to do. I want to come out. There's got to be a good gift for that. Right? Perfect. Jimmy Carr. That's all I need. Or Loki. I could have gone with Loki, but I'm going with BBC. Yeah, perfect. Uh, yeah, there's always got to be one. Okay, I think I'm caught up. I think I am caught up on requests for quotes. And again, I don't it looks like, I've had about one person on YouTube and about 63 passing through on X. So if anyone is in the chat on X or elsewhere, let me know. Yeah, let me know if I'm a bit blurry right now, or lagging behind or anything as I check in on some things here. Yeah, still pre-order publishing. Okay, now there might be a bit of a lag. Check on, because in the past sometimes it publishes to like .com first, then .ca, then UK. It slowly appears on all the different sites, and then eventually they tell you it's live when it's on all of them. But doing a quick check now does not look like it's live on anything yet, so that's okay. Yeah, you know what? It kind of works out. If today I give away free copies to those who want them, review copies, I have the audiobook files and the EPUB ready. I could give the PDF of like the physical copies if someone prefers PDF read. Yeah, anyways, yeah, you get it. If you want a free copy, they're available. But for those who want to pre-order it or wait to buy physical copies or the audiobook on Audible, I don't mind waiting until tomorrow to post again and build hype for the actual pre-order. So today is just for review copies and revealing the cover. Build some hype, and then tomorrow hopefully build off that momentum with the actual pre-order. But there's always the risk that you lose momentum overnight instead. And then on the flip side, it could just depend on the day. Like maybe Friday is a quiet day. It's interesting. I'll have to look back at the dates of my previous launches. I try to do that. I try to compare when I've launched and see what days are more successful. But it's very like I find even social media posting, it's very hard to predict what works, what doesn't. Um, you know, Time of day and day of the week, what works, what doesn't fluctuates like mad. So that's okay. So we'll see. And today overall has gone. I'm it's not that I'm surprised. I love this cover. I thought it would be a banger. I thought people would enjoy it, but I know it's not a Joe Requeza. I know there's a lot at play. I wasn't extremely optimistic about this launch. I also wasn't, bottomed out, thinking it wasn't going to do well at all. But I love that this community came through. I love that online, like a bunch of reviewer friends immediately leapt on the chance to, give it a quick read and review. So I really, really, really appreciate that. And just author friends who've been extraordinarily supportive. And we've been going back and forth for a few years now, and even newer friends who've really stepped up and stayed around and continue to support, and something I'm happy to do in turn. Can be a lot to keep track of. So that's the thing. There are so many of us in this great community that it can be easy to miss when something like this happens. And I try to, I try to keep on my notifications on for a whole bunch of authors, so I'm always hopefully aware when something like this happens. But sometimes it's later in the day, but you do what you can to support your friends and to support authors who are putting out quality work, and those who are still learning too. That's the thing. You don't want to leave behind those who are taking their first steps. We all were at some point, and we're all still learning and growing. So you support those who are still, putting out their first works too. Anyways, yeah, it's just I am very happy that the community came through today. I know some people are like, "Oh, what community?" and other people are saying, "Oh, but the community's toxic or terrible." And some people are, I don't know. I love it. I love it. It's been so much fun. Just from day one when I first took the leap, even before I published a book on Twitter in particular, but now expanding to Instagram, a little bit on Blue Sky, but I find it's very dead there, to be honest. So Instagram and X have been just the places where I call home. X for obviously for sure. I just know the most people from there. As long as you mute politics, which I do, you just end up with fun book community stuff, except for the authors who want to talk about politics, and then that kind of sucks because if they're authors I normally like, then I don't want to mute them because then I won't see their stuff anymore, period. But sometimes I wish they would just stop talking about stuff besides their books. A lot of people do it for sales or for traction on with the algorithm. I get it, but damn it, don't do it. Avoid it's tempting. I get it. I really do. Used to be worse. Used to be much worse. Not anymore. And I'm looking for fellow authors who don't want to be part of that on either extreme. Just a little bit about me, but it should be obvious if you follow me on X already. That's just not the kind of culture I want to participate in. Polarized and destructive has been my experience on both extremes. So, eh. Anyways, so that's me. Okay, let's do another quick refresh. Nada pinata. Yeah. What can you do? That's just, I mean, that's the thing, you're kind of, that is the thing about self-publishing. You're still at the mercy of someone, depending on what platform you put it out on, or even putting it out yourself on a website, uh, which is something I kind of want to keep exploring the possibility of, and I'm going to keep building up I do have a Substack now, actually. That's something I need to add to my link tree. So there we go. A task for after today. I need to add my Substack newsletter. I'm not trying to post on there more than once a month, really, for now. Maybe more as the occasion calls for it. I think I'm going to do something on it for the cover reveal later. I mean, I'm waiting for the pre-order before I post there because why bother if the link isn't there? Um, but yeah, like I am trying to expand, um, and there are different platforms I could, start selling ebooks directly from. Not right now because I use Kindle Unlimited and or Kindle Select, KDP Select, whatever you know what I'm talking about. So, anyways, all these little decisions and trying to expand, but if you expand too far, too wide, too broad, too quickly, it just becomes too much to handle. So I try to still treat X as my base. It's where most people know me from. It's where I've made the most friends and the most connections across divides and just having a good time and focused on books and focused on writing and focused on learning and growing together and putting out genuine high quality indie work. That's always been the goal. And not just indie. I mean, I've edited for trad authors too. Like it's not exclusive in that sense. And I've talked about this before. I'm very open to querying in the future. I think I want to keep refining my work. Um, but the danger there is if you then write something you really like and think has a solid chance of being traditionally published, um, but then you have to wait years before it ever goes live. I don't have that kind of patience. So knowing me, I don't know if I'll ever even bother trying to query. Um, like, there are pros and cons, and for now, the indie cons far outweigh the pros in my mind, and I've loved it. I've loved self-publishing. I love having the control. I love learning different skills, not just writing, which is enough on its own, but I love the marketing. I love the design. I love the formatting. I love audiobook work. Uh, like all of it. I love the multifaceted approach, and just right now, every aspect of my life in some way connects back to my writing. Um, the work I do, on multiple different fronts for money, but it's still all writing connected. It's just a great place to be right now. Contest judging, teaching, editing work, those three things. Combined with a few, but those are my main three sources of income right now, and it's great. They balance each other out. It's livable. It's all I need right now, and it lets me focus on writing because I still it's flexible enough in terms of hours that I can still write every day, which is critical. Or do audio work, audiobook production if I'm not writing those or editing. Yeah, I bounce, but you get the point. Like most days, I get to write, which is key. And I envy those who can, do like more exacting work and write from experience. Very hard. Just so hats off to you, pun intended. But I fought very hard for the arrangement I get to live with right now in terms of work, so that I have that flexibility because I definitely need it. Like writing takes a toll on me in a lot of ways. I love it, but it does, and so that cushion that I have around it really helps lessen that toll and helps me get the words on the page. I don't know if I'd be able to continue otherwise. So yeah, so that's part of why I even had to take a step back, earlier this year, and it's nice to be back where I am now. That's the thing, you just for all of us, one way or another, the author journey is a day at a time, especially as indies where you don't have upfront, income support. You really have to do this all yourself. But it's a fun challenge. I love it. I love everything that entails. So just taking it a day at a time. Um, yeah, and again, you just don't want to be too dependent on any one platform, but there is something to be said for having a home base and building out from there. Yeah, so again, I still consider X my home. Yeah. Okay. Page 8. What do we got for page 8? Let's see. Dramatic sentence, but without context means nothing. Um, Too much of a spoiler. This is tough. This is a fun challenge, but it's tough. Uh, I like that sentence. It's not quite a spoiler, but it is a nice. It's a core element of the story. I like it. I'm going to post it. So the quote is: "By skill and sheer grit, she made even the Forsaken Isles a paradise, a home out of ruin." That works. I think that's my page 8 quote. Yeah. Okay. Page 8. Snake the quote from the document. Yeah, perfect. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Total non sequitur here. Well, not a complete non sequitur because it connects. Um, yeah. Gosh, at this rate, well, no, I haven't bent the spine yet, but at this rate, I'm going to have this poor proof copy is going to be completely destroyed by the end of the day, as it should be if I've checked it properly. Um, yeah. Okay. So just because I said cool, cool, cool there, it always makes me think of Abed from Community. Great show. Um, but I saw a clip the other day, like a short on YouTube, I think, showing the great episode in Community where Annie is taking a psychology course with Duncan Oliver. What's his name? Someone in the chat help me out if you're around. Come on, something Oliver. What's his name? The late night guy. Uh, Smart, British, funny, especially when he's on Community. He was great in that. He was very funny. Um, yeah, sometimes he's a bit too scripted, so I kind of stopped watching his stuff online or his late night stuff. Most late night. I used to watch a lot of late night back in the day, years like 2015 ish. Was for whatever reason that year I watched a lot of late night, and then well, political events made everything go to hell over the years that followed. I just got like I was there for the comedy, not for politics on either side. Like I just don't care. So it's too bad. Late night kind of turned into a mess, including John Oliver. That's his name. Uh, yeah. So, anyways, but hey Tim, how's it going? Yeah. Okay. So I was just about to go on a little weird tangent here because I said cool, cool, cool while pulling your idea. So glad you're here, Tim. Um, I've been giving excerpts. I don't know if you saw the post, but I've been giving excerpts from page numbers from the story. So the last one I just gave was page 8. By skill and sheer grit, she made even the forsaken isles a paradise, a home out of ruin. So that was the last quote. Anyways, and then I said cool, cool, cool. My mind went on a tangent to Community and Abed. And to anyone in the chat who's seen it, or Tim, if you've seen it, I don't know, but there's the episode where Annie is taking a psychology class with Duncan or John Oliver's character, and they do this experiment where the students have to bring a friend and get the friend to sit in a room that's the waiting room, and they tell them, okay, just 5 more minutes and we'll invite you in, and they have a camera, a hidden camera. Oh, you didn't see Community, or maybe not this episode. I also don't want to spoil it then. Anyways, I'm going to spoil it. So the point is, the experiment is to see how long the people will wait. And so they just keep coming back like every 5 minutes. Oh, it'll just be 5 minutes more. And they keep going. They keep going. And, after like 2 hours, one person leaves. After another hour, another person leaves. And 5 more minutes, another person leaves. 10 more minutes, someone throws a tantrum. It's like, I've been here for 5 hours. Why aren't we doing the experiment? Like they volunteered for an experiment and they are the experiment. They don't know it. And finally, the only person left is Abed. So Annie invited Abed as her guest for the experiment. And so they're all just watching him. And by this point, the experimenters, Annie and Duncan and all the psychology students, they're all going nuts. They're like, why won't he leave? Why is like, they're throwing tantrums, they're pulling out their hair, they're completely like going nuts. It's just really damn funny. Like it's so finally Annie storms through the door and says, "Why are you here? Just leave." And he says, "Okay." And he just gets up and he leaves. And so Annie approaches him the next day and says, why did you stay for 24 hours? For 24 hours you sat in a room and did nothing. Didn't that bother you? And he says, "Well, yeah, of course it bothered me, but you said you were my friend, and I just wanted to be a good friend." Something like he says something like that, and she's just floored, completely floored that that's like he was that just committed to being a good friend, and she feels bad for using him at that point, and it's just a fun little, I don't know, it's a very cute moment in that, like, that show had a lot of those fun, like, heartfelt moments amidst the comedy. Community, I love that show. Like, it was very well done. Some of the later seasons got boring and I stopped watching, but the early, like, I think the first 3 seasons I think were bangers. um yeah, so point is, this Skyfold, there is a connection. So less to Skyfold than what I'm working on right now. So Skyfold, I went a lot deeper with the romance than I normally do, but it's not like a romance book. It is a key element. Um, but the novella I'm working on right now, the horror novella, that's a prequel to The Fall of Sylvandria. Um, the thing about it, like there is, it's not romance, not the same way this is. Like, there's romance elements in this that are yeah, like, big elements. And yes, Community was a great show. um yeah, like, yeah, I don't think it's a spoiler. The main character has a very tense relationship with his ex-wife in the horror novella I'm working on. Um, and there's a story that comes to light uh, that I had a lot of fun writing, where the character, not the main character, but another character is kind of reflecting on this. Um, yeah, I don't want to spoil too much about this, but it's a time where this other character pining after this particular woman, uh, and didn't know that he she presented herself to him with a different name, and they started seeing each other. He did not know that she was married at the time. or else he wouldn't have been with her in the first place. And which is part of why she lied about her identity. Uh, and so they're together, and but she's also trying to maintain appearances with her husband. And so at the I think like yeah, the story that I somehow sneak this story, and it's absolutely essential to things that are about to happen in the horror part of the story. But there's this little story that sneaks in about the equivalent of Valentine's Day in this world, in this particular nation, and in this city where it takes place. And the wife is trying to both, have dinner or have lunch with her husband and meet this other guy. So she like has lunch with her husband, but then pretends to be sick and like goes a few streets over to see the her lover. But the lover is in a room with someone who the husband knows. And so she pretend like she sneaks a message saying, "Okay, no, I can't meet right now after all, but let's meet, by the canal. Let's meet by the river." And so an hour later, he goes to the river hoping to see her, or sorry, he goes to a cafe hoping to see her, and she doesn't show up there because she can't. She sees someone else, and she's still trying to hide her identity from him, from the lover. So then she sends like she gets another message to him, and that's when he goes to the canal. But by the time uh, he goes there, the husband has already tracked down the wife. And so the husband, half drunk because he's been drinking all day, because of the festivities that are going on in the city, so he, you know, brings her home, with expectations, because he's not exactly a decent person. And so she leaves. And so this poor lover guy who has no idea that she's married and has been strung along all day, he's been, like Abed in Community, he's been just going from place to place to place, hoping to finally spend time with, the woman of his dreams. And the whole time, she's like trying to bounce between the two guys without them knowing. And finally, at like 3 in the morning, sitting by the water on a bench, in this kind of Napoleonic Paris kind of setting, he's just there like, what am I doing? Finally kind of has that wake up moment and goes home, and the relationship sort of falls apart. And he soon after finds out why this all happened and that she's married, and that's when things fall apart there. Yeah, and believe it or not, that connects to the horror. So it's not just a random story thrown in. But whenever I think of the phrase "cool, cool, cool," that's the tangent in my mind. I think of Abed, and I think of Abed in Community waiting for the experiment to finally end, because he's a good friend. So like a guy getting stood up like 5 times in one day, which happens to this character. It just, I don't know, it reminded me of that. And that's the tangent my mind went on. So yeah, that's as close to romance as I get in the horror book I'm working on. Is just showing this poor guy just pining after this woman and getting his heart broken. But like again, I don't want to give the tie-in to the horror or to the next book. Sorry, well, I say the next book, but it's a prequel to this. Um, but you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it reading the book unless I tell you right now. So it's kind of fun. It's fun writing such a different story that is still set in the same world. Yeah, so that's been fun. Anyways, and hi, Ro. Yeah, before I forget to say hi. Yes, and yes, like yeah, the first 3 seasons to me of Community were amazing, and then I don't know what happened. Um, yeah, I got bored. I just got bored. I can't explain why I stopped liking it, but you know, I missed the zombie episode and the one or two. They did one or two zombie episodes, and they did the two or three uh, um, paintball episodes, which are just like to this day some of the best episodes of television ever created. Yeah. Okay, so is the horror from dinosaurs? I don't want to box myself in, but it's safe to say no, no. Um, with the exception of does I can't even say that. So nope. I'm just gonna say no. I feel like no is a good answer. It's more supernatural horror, excuse me, mixed with like psychological horror. That's the goal. Um the director changed. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, so let's see if there's anything else here. Yeah, Checking for any more page number requests. Nope, none so far. We're good. And quick refresher on this. Still waiting on that pre-order. So that's what 6 hours now? 6 hours. I've been waiting for the pre-order link to go live. So that's okay. That's today's the cover reveal. Tomorrow I can start pushing the cover. Yeah, I'm sure by tomorrow, based on past experience, sometimes it's right away, sometimes usually 24 hours. I think it's safe to assume that by the end of 24 hours, the pre-order link will be live. So what can you do? Uh, but again, the cover reveal itself, I'm really, yeah, I didn't know I was going to go. I hoped it would go well, but like people have really come through. Um, so yeah, makes me very happy to be part of this community because people are awesome. And even when you don't expect, I don't know, like yeah, people really came through, really over delivered today. That's been really encouraging. Definitely needed it. It's been an interesting stretch, just life wise, not book wise, the last little while. Um, which is part of why I've just s- taken a deep dive headfirst into my writing because it's a great way to work through the tough times. And now I'm just in a good place because, damn, this. I'm very excited to hear what people think of this, and I'm really excited uh, to finish this horror novella I'm working on because it's coming out fun. Um, you've never waited more than a few hours. Yeah, like that's the thing. I like you're one of the ones I've kind of seen whenever you put out, a new book and I'm like, seems to be timed very well. I didn't, maybe there's something you're doing different. I don't know, but yeah. Now you go through Ingram, right? Do I have that right? Rather than KDP? Um, could be a KDP thing. I don't know. Why or do I have that wrong? Maybe no, I feel like you go through Ingram. I feel like we've had that conversation before. Uh, yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Um, but yeah, anyway, so to get back to the question about yeah, the horror. Yeah, I don't think it's too much of a. I want to like I'm trying to draw up a list of good horror comps. Everyone says it, so I don't just want to say it. There are some. If anything, I want to stay away from certain elements of that kind of horror. Um, that's like supernatural horror gone wild. My best comparison for the latter half of the book would be as above, so below, and that's what I'm telling people. Uh, 5 of the 6 books were from Ingram, but now just Amazon. Okay, okay, very, very, very cool. Yeah, very cool. So that's interesting. Um, yeah, so I don't know what gives because yeah, this I think something like this happened last time, and it didn't happen the other 2 times. So I just need to prepare, I guess, from now on for the delay. But what would really tick me off is if I publish a day ahead to be careful, and then the cover gets revealed, before the cover reveal, because I want to give like SFF insiders and fanfiatics the chance to put my covers out first. That's just good form. Want to let them, get the traction first. Um, so I don't want the cover to appear on Amazon. I don't know. I could use a placeholder cover. Like I've seen people do that. I've seen that on Goodreads. I don't know about the dynamics of doing that on Amazon. Um, yeah, I mean, I could do that. Maybe I should just do that going forward, like I've seen others do. Um, I don't mind this though. Like a day wait is really not that bad. So I fully expect that by the end of today it'll be live. Um, Yeah, I'm genuinely shocked it's taken this long. Because whenever at least once a book is published, they're very good about making updates very quickly, both to physical copies and to ebook. Like if I find something I want to quickly tweak, like just spelling or grammar or something, like a quick little change or a formatting change, very quick. I can make the change in the documents, convert them, upload them, 15 minutes. For an ebook, 15 minutes before it's live. And for physical copies, like max 24 hours. So Amazon's been really good about like those kinds of little updates. But for this, yeah, for publishing, I guess it makes sense that it takes them longer. But come on, come on. This is 6 hours, is pushing it. Um, yeah, anyways, what can you do? So I just, yeah, have to brace for that as the new norm. That's okay. Um, yeah, what else was I gonna say? Yeah, like it's hard. So just where I'm at in the horror book, I'm at 21,000 words, and based on my outline, which I'm not so committed to it, I like 8 to 10 chapters. I think 10 chapters is what I wanted, and that is looking now like it is what it's gonna land at. Um, and so, like, I'm not even halfway through, and I'm already at 21,000 words. So this is gonna be a novel. It's gonna be a short novel. Might even be 60,000 words or more. If not, it's gonna be in that limbo space, between 40 and 60. I see a lot of horror books come out that are that length, so I think I can get away with it. And it is a full arc of a story, so it's not like a cliffhanger. Well, it's a horror. I have an ending. I know the ending. I already have the final lines written. Like, this is one of those books where I very much know what's going to happen, and it's fun. I'm very much looking forward to building up to that ending. Um, and I'm really, really interested to hear uh, what people think of it, whether they've written or whether they've read The Fall of Salvandria or not, and then if they haven't read it, if they read the prequel that I'm writing, the horror book first, and then go to this, like, yeah, that'll be interesting because they're very, very different styles, and but the story sets up for the fall in ways that no one will see coming, but it's not overly complicated. Like, the horror book is very straightforward, very, like, it's still me. It's, I like my plots and subplots and complexity, but the exposition is much heavier, and the character development is the 100% main focus. So I think people are going to get very sucked into the story, and then about three quarters through, they're going to realize the connections to the fall. And they're going to be like, "Excuse me." That's the goal. The goal is for you to say, oh, oh, like some of the saddest. It's not just satisfying. It makes the fall of Salvandria much darker than it already is. So it's making the whole world even darker than you already think it is, while still perfectly aligning with the original story, because it is what I had in mind from day one. It's just, yeah. This prequel was always a possibility. I'm very glad I'm fine. I couldn't have written it 2 years ago or even a year ago. I would not have been in the right place with the right tools to write this. So yeah, it's coming out good. But where I'm at right now is the horror isn't fully, like there have been tastes of it. There have been tastes of death. There have been tastes of some more gruesome death than I've written before. Um, like, here's how I'll describe it. So the first half is kind of more slasher murder mystery kind of horror. That's the vibe I want to give, with hints of the supernatural. You're gonna know right away that the supernatural is playing a part. You won't know how, and then, yeah, and then it skyrockets past the halfway mark. Not quite the supernatural. Well, anyways, yeah, I don't want to spoil more than that. That's the point. So it's meant to be half like, not Scream. That's too playful. I'm trying to think of a good slasher horror that fits. Not Mike Myers, not Halloween, or yeah. Trying to think of a good example, but more gothic, like not gothic in the romance sense, but gothic in the, like, the mood of Dracula, and like early modern London or early modern Paris kind of feel, you know, uh, oil lamps, and uh, it's set within an imperial capital city with that kind of vibe, and the atmosphere, the very atmospheric darkness and mystery and intrigue slowly building, and then things go nuts. And that's when the supernatural really takes off. And then it climbs, and once you have the final segment of the book, which is gonna hopefully feel like As Above, So Below, or The Descent. The Descent is another close comp. To a point, not as well. I don't want to box myself in, but yeah, The Descent meets As Above, So Below, with hints of it too when they go down the well, or not, yeah, down the well, further down the well into the caves. It's like some of that vibes. I don't want to overcommit to that though. Yeah, less it, more As Above, So Below. Um, yeah, and yeah, the rise of the dark god is kind of the overall premise. But again, murder mystery, supernatural horror. That's the idea. So Yeah. Anyways, it's been fun to write. Okay, notifications still blasting in. Let's see what's good. Yeah, again, just people coming through today. It's been really cool to see everyone reposting this and supporting. So really appreciate it. Um, yeah, really, really appreciate the support, everyone. It means a lot. Um, yeah, and it is nice. Well, I was gonna say it's nice to have another book on the market, but thanks to Amazon, not yet. So soon, by the end of today, the darn thing will be live. Um, again, that's half the reason I started this. So yeah, so for anyone coming in late, here is the paperback. The hardcover is coming soon. Uh, I can show that actually. I think I have. Let me see. Here we go. So here's the full cover for anyone who hasn't seen this yet. Um, yeah, yeah, this is the hardcover you're looking at here, whereas I'm holding the paperback. So paperback has a thinner spine, smaller title, smaller author name, smaller icon. Everything's a little bigger and clearer on the hardback. Um, prices I've set prices, so $6.99 US dollars for the paperback and $12.99 US dollars for the hardcover. So that those will both be available on August 15th. Yeah, great time. Uh, oh yeah, and thank you so much. Yeah. Oh man, Saffron, thank you for dropping in. Appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I know it's an afternoon stream. I'm just goofing off. Uh, this is me passing time, and because I'm too excited and too antsy to do my editing work, which I'm ahead of, so I can afford to take the day off. And I literally am launching a book, so of course I can't think of anything else. And I tried writing, and that's a hell to the no. That's not happening today. So yeah, so I was in limbo. I was like, well, what else am I going to do with my afternoon? I could read, I guess, but no, too antsy for that. So, just this is a good way to goof off, chat with all of you lovely people, read some excerpts from the book, which I've already done a few of. Um, yeah, maybe I should read this the back because I really liked putting this blurb together. I think it turned out well. Um, yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. Like I followed a lot of the same formatting and thinking that went into the blurb for The Fall of Savandria, which as far as like out of the blurbs I've written in the past, like for Rise of Jessica, Sees the Zova, like it's performed extremely well. Even before I had the illustrated cover from Joe Requesa, this blurb seems to have done a good job. And I think this blurb that I've written for Skyfold really captures the story well. So and I think it hooks on like marketing elements that will hopefully draw readers in. So that'll be interesting to see when I do start running ads. Probably, I don't know, not right away, a month or two from now. I hope to run a few ads. Like I tend to only run ads when I'm running a sale. That's the general idea. So maybe the next time I run a sale for the Fall of Sylvandria, I'll run ads for both. Because this I'm only selling at 99 cents for the ebook. It's meant to be kind of a lead magnet, kind of just something to give people a taste of my writing. And frankly, like I've already said on this stream, I think the best writing I've done to date, with the exception of the horror I'm doing next. The sequel to The Fall of Savandria has some really solid chapters, but there are still some kinks in the first half that I'm working through. The second half is just so good. I don't think I'm bragging saying that like that's the point. It's a challenge. The second half is too good, and I started writing the second half after testing out some new things, trying some new things, learning from some peers, reading some books on the craft. And so it's different in style from the first half. And I kind of have to bring the first half up to the same level. And that is damn hard. It's easier to write from blank, from nothing at a higher level than it is to edit from a lower level to a higher level of writing. So I'm really struggling with that. Um, like two extremes, you like it's really hard. I love the story. It's just elements of the craft uh yeah could use some refining. Like it's just you'd have to see it to know what I'm talking about. It's a fun challenge. It's just tough. um Whereas this is just solid good fun all the way through, in my opinion, and from those I've had read it already. Like I've heard like good things. I think it delivers the punch that I wanted it to deliver. And then the horror I'm writing so far, I still need to edit one chapter in particular to reach, I think, this level, but it's shaping up. It's shaping up to be very, very good. I just worry about meeting genre norms with horror in particular. So that's going to be a fun challenge too. Um, is making sure that it meets those. Well, I want to exceed those expectations, but I don't want someone to read it and say, "Oh, come on, this is grimdark. Or this isn't horror, or this is dark fantasy. This isn't horror." Like that would be a nightmare to me. I want people to say, "Damn, Tim can write horror," you know. Um, so that's a fun challenge. It's just where I'm at right now, trying to test out different waters. Again, because I said this at the very beginning when I went live today. I said right now the goal for the next year is to hone my craft more than I've done. Like I really worked on the editing side of things, just my different editing techniques and editing tricks to make sure I catch things and make sure I refine things to a higher caliber. But writing more broadly and using new tools in the actual writing process, like just different forms of exposition, different forms of character development, different forms of outlining and planning ahead, to give the story proper structure. Like I don't want to just be a pure pantser because that doesn't quite fit my personality anyway. um, yeah, just growing. Like this year is focused on growth. And I think one of the best ways to grow is to test yourself with smaller doses. Like, yeah. Or else you end up repeating a lot of the same mistakes over a longer span. So I like that my first book was a chonker, but my plan right now is publish this, finish writing another short book, publish the sequel to The Fall of Savandria, which is going to be another chonker, but not as long, and then publish another probably two novella or short novel sized books, and then publish book three after The Fall of Savandria. So that's the plan. The plan is two short, 2 to 3 short, one long, 2 to 3 short, one long. Just to really, those short pieces are just my chance to really test out new waters, test out new skills, test out new writing techniques, and see how they land. So then I can continue to refine them and take the lessons learned into the bigger books. Because the thing about writing a bigger book is it's that much more of an investment of time, both on my part and on the reader's part, right? So you want to deliver the best you can, so that you're satisfied with what comes out the other side, and so that the reader enjoys it, obviously. So yeah. Anyways, so I'm trying to. This is just where I'm at right now. Where I'm at is just radically trying to step up my game. Okay, so I'm gonna. Whoop. There we go. Reverting back to this screen. Yeah, so let me read this blurb. For those, well, it's going to be posted on Amazon, but I haven't posted it on X yet, or it's been posted on the review site. So SFF Insiders and FanFi Addicts both have this, so you can check out their cover reveal pages. Will have this blurb there. But here is the blurb to The Fall of Savannah, or sorry, the blurb to Skyfold. Okay, so Rain is the tyranny of gods, which is also the first line of the book. So that's there by design. Rain is the tyranny of gods. Cabot and Riven Sauvail have a plan to steal the Skyfold's source and free their people from sovereign rule. For centuries, the sovereigns have used their godlike power to rule Pretaria, a world of islands floating in the clouds and caught in eternal storms. Some, like Cabot, suffer under sovereign power while dreaming of cloudless skies. Some, like Riven, defy their masters and laugh in the face of a sovereign's curse. Still others plot and scheme for the day humans can reclaim their glory. And together, those with the courage to risk it all shall sow the seeds of a new age and a world born free of the sovereigns. Full of thrills, adventure, and the power of love against evil, Skyfold is an epic fantasy heist you'll never forget, with monsters aplenty and twists at every turn. Journey where every game has a cost and every dream a price to be paid. To those who dare, Demon Plagos. Find purpose in play and master your world. Anyways, there you go. So that's the blurb. That is the blurb for Skyfold. Yeah. I'm very happy with it. I think you know, it'll be interesting to see. It's shorter, so hopefully I'll get feedback soon from genuine readers and reviewers as opposed to just beta feedback. Which there's always different elements that you get from different audiences. And so but this, I think for people who've liked my previous work, this is going to like blow that out of the water. Again, I don't think that's me being cocky. I think that's me recognizing I've grown and I still have further to grow. So I hope that this will be blown out of the water with the horror piece I'm about to put out and keep going, keep learning. But like, yeah, brace yourselves. It's going to be a fun ride. Thanks for those who've been there from the start and have put up with my, earlier works and have seen the growth already. And I hope that this, shows that I'm still on that upward trajectory. Um, like we all are. We're all still learning and growing. And anyways, that's yeah. I'm yeah. It's a different feeling. That's the way I'll describe it because there's the satisfaction of putting out your first book, um, and there's the fear and the trepidation that comes with it because you don't quite know what to expect from those who are going to see it. Uh, and those, whereas once you're putting out your second or third book, you kind of know the market, you kind of know your audience, you know what they're expecting from you, what they're expecting from a decent book, and that comes with pros and cons of now you know what their expectations are, and that also comes with you have to really step up your game to meet them, or you keep doing what you've been doing and expect the exact same results. Some people, you get my point. Yeah, like if you want different results, you're gonna have to try new things. Um, but because you have previous publishing experience, you kind of have a better sense of how things are going to land. Yeah, moving up in the world. I mean, you say that, but here's me being dead honest. I said this at the beginning of the stream. I was not sure how today was going to go, just in terms of support from the community and in terms of, it's a different style of cover. One I love. I think this is a sorry. Like I love this kind of cover. I know some people prefer illustrated or bust. I like illustrated. I love illustrated covers, but I also love iconic covers. I really do. There was a reason I asked for them when I made the first covers for my first books, was because I do like this kind of thing, and there are reasons why. And in this case, I think it delivers. So I really like this cover, but I genuinely didn't know what kind of support it would get. The real test is going to be like tomorrow or hopefully today, when the pre-order goes live. If people are actually going to be lining up for this or not, that's still up in the air. And then I think of those who do read it, I expect the reviews to be positive. I think it's going to be. I think this is going to shock some people, hopefully in a good way. Um, but the flip side is like even though it's a novella, so I think I expect reviews will come in quicker, but I don't expect as many new people to pick it up as picked up The Fall of Sylvandria because of its cover appeal. So that's just me being honest. I don't this is going to be like in some ways this is a nah, how do I put this? Like this isn't quite what I would call a lead magnet because it's not going to be drawing in new readers based on cover alone. I don't think. Maybe for some it will because it is eye catching. So on a screen when this is small, it's still like it's hard to miss. It's the visual appeal is there, I think. Um, but its simplicity and the mystery of the icon doesn't tell you much more than storms and magic. I think those are the vibes it gives by design. But other than that, and then you're going to see on Amazon, Skyfold, and then the subtitle of a fantasy heist. I think that's going to draw people in. So I don't expect this to do terribly, but I guess my point in all this is I don't expect it to do like super well, at least not right away. Once traction starts building as people read it and say, "Oh, damn, it is actually really good." That I do expect. I don't think I'm being cocky. I know I can do well. I'm not even. I'm not going to put it down. I like this is damn good. I'm really happy with this novella. But like I've seen novellas hit and miss with different authors, right? Some do well, some do less well. Some reviewers really want a bite-sized morsel right now, and then but then every like it seems like there are patterns, right? Everyone shifts towards wanting smaller, and then everyone shifts towards wanting longer. I feel like I'm coming on the tail end of people wanting novellas. And I think we're already shifting back towards bigger pieces. So I don't know. Maybe I'll catch the wave of people wanting bite-sized, fulfilling morsels like this, but I might not. Just being honest with myself and my expectations. Um, like like I don't know. Uh, Even if the people who do review it are like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing," it might still be a small, tight-knit group of people who say, "Oh, damn, this is good. Tim can really write." They're probably gonna be people who've already read my other work, just being honest. So, most of the people who I think are gonna initially read this are gonna be current readers. Maybe when I start offering free copies of it, like through Kindle Select deals, right? Maybe then I'll get new readers, and it'll be a really good magnet for people to read my other work. But right away, like I have very middling, not low, middling expectations for this book. I think it really is going to impress people. It's just, uh, yeah, okay. I mean, you would know, like you would know. I know you would know, Tim. I'm talking to Tim Wolf here. Like Tim would know. Uh, like yes, it is easy to convince people to read something small compared to something large. Um, yeah, I don't I like. I'm just for now. I'm tentatively hopeful. I think long term, this book is going to do really well. I don't foresee it being like a take off right away book. I really don't. Um, the horror book I'm working on, maybe. There, I think I interact with enough horror authors who have no interest in chonky fantasy who are really gonna like this horror book, or at least like it'll be a nice balance between them. They'll be like, okay, it's a little heavy on the fantasy, but it's really good. I really like the horror, so I'm gonna tell my friends about it. I'm kind of hopeful that the horror book will build up some quick traction, whereas this is slow traction. This is those who read it are gonna love it. It's just then from that I just don't know how many that's gonna be. Um, that's okay. That's like you know, the challenge, like, I guess when I'm brainstorming out loud here is, okay, so how do I market that? How do I market a book that for now anyways, yeah, I don't know. It's I know it's shorter. That's interesting. Okay, that's fair. That's very, very fair. Um, yeah, like, you have to be careful not to judge a book's success too quickly. I was genuinely terrified that I got an okay number of pre-orders for The Fall of Sylvandria with its original cover, the simpler one. It still got an okay number of pre-orders, but not many. And then it got an okay number of initial sales, but not many. And then it sort of already started to flatline, not totally taper off, but it just slow decline. And then a few months later, I launched this, and sales like skyrocketed. But like I say, skyrocket, but not like some of the people we talked to, but still pretty damn good. For me, I was in heaven. Um, but I worried that even with a new cover, like I worried that I'd already boxed myself in over those few months, and that it would be hard to pick up momentum. Now, as it turns out, people say like people really do buy a book by its cover, so it blew up. But um, yeah, yeah. So you're absolutely right. Like you have to give a book its proper time to see what happens. So yeah, like I won't be able to judge till like late September probably because this will come out August 15th, and then you know well, the nice thing is then Sphinx. Like the whole reason I'm publishing this now as opposed to waiting a little longer, which I maybe would have otherwise. This is going in Sphinx, so uh, you know, like yeah, I've read a lot of other authors' novellas. I think this has a solid chance, at the very least. Like uh, again, I don't want to get cocky. I just know where I stand, and I know where I've grown, and I know where I think people are going to be very satisfied with this. Um, I don't know if it'll win. Uh, if it doesn't at least make it like the semifinals, I'll be honestly a little bit devastated. Like, I don't think that's cocky. And there's a lot at play. There's a lot at play in terms of whether something makes it past judges or appeals. So I don't know, like Yeah, yeah, let's both win Sphinx. Let's get a tie, a Tim tie for number one place, and we'll just call it a day. Because yeah, yeah. Anyways, the Tims. It is time for the Timocracy. The time for the Tims to rule has come. Uh, yeah, like genuinely, honestly, and I'd be shocked again how what I've read so far. I think I have it right here, literally. Yeah, so I mean, what I've read so far, like, yeah, oh, I get the hype. Holy hell, dude. And like you've talked about on your interviews, like quotability, and that's huge. And there's a lot of quotability, I think, in Skyfold, but it wasn't. It was a focus, but less than maybe I'd want. Well, no, I'll word it this way. I found it very easy to be quotable in Skyfold, whereas I'm finding it really, really hard to be quotable in the horror piece I'm working on, but it's a banger. So sometimes there's a trade-off. Sometimes story and character. Well, no, like even the characters, like they have great lines, but they're not kind of the same. They're not the same kind of quotability as the Whisper That Replaced God or Skyfold. It's a different kind of 'cause I mean, yeah, like certain horror lines are great horror lines, but no one's gonna be like quoting those to themselves to like feel better at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Or like it's gonna stick in your memory, but not the kind of thing you want in your memory, you know? Like when horror is memorable, that's not well, that is a good thing, but it's not quotable, if that makes sense. So that's kind of yeah. I don't know. So it's yeah, I'm genuinely struggling with that. I'm like, I want well, no, no, I have to be careful. You don't want to insert quotability into a story where it's not appropriate. This horror story doesn't, I don't think, need it. It's not about needing it or forcing it. It's just, yeah. Skyfold was very fun. Like some of the quotes, I was like, oh yeah, it was just a very fun experience to write it because it's just a fun story. Heavy at parts, but mostly fun, which was by design. So, yeah, okay, bats. Howdy, howdy. I've been showing it on and off. I've got it right next to me. So the whole reason I went live was because I got this in the mail today. So here's the paperback proof. I revealed it. Get off my case. It's been online. I've got it here. I've got here's the this is the hardcover layout. So the spine is obviously thicker, so you get to see a better view of the author name and title and icon and all that. Um, so yeah, here's the hardcover. Here's the ebook. Obviously, just a cutout of what you've already seen. And then since I already have the audiobook done, here's the audiobook. And here we added more of the uh, come on, not the shading. What's the gradient? We added more of the gradient effect to the border, which I like. But I do think like too distracting for the main cover. Uh, like the full cover has mostly just the yellow. There's some gradient, but it's mild. You can see it in the title, and you can see it on the right side. Whereas on the back, you have much more of the gradient in kind of the top right corner. And we used the same gradient in the tagline for the book. The "Rain is the tyranny of gods." Um, yeah. So a lot of fun getting these final files coming in, and yeah, the audiobook. I'm curious. I've talked to other authors who published on KDP and then put their audiobook on Audible. And like it sounds I don't think even when the pre-order goes live, which should be any minute, stupid Amazon. I'm gonna complain about this all day until they do it. So that's my master plan of being online right now is just to of course Audible doesn't or audio, Amazon doesn't care, but whatever. Anyways, point is once the pre-order is live, I don't think the book will show up in ACX system yet. I think the book itself has to be live. So August 15th, I should be able to upload everything, which is already ready to ACX. And then they say 10 business days, so 2 weeks to go live, which is exactly what it took for the Fall of Sylvandria. Hopefully it's sooner this time because it's not like there's as much to check. So that's the hopefully within 2 weeks of publishing, the audiobook will be live on Audible. So yes, I agree. It's like prioritize Tim's because it's just good sense. Anyways, yeah. Trying to think what else. Let me see if there are more requests for quotes. Yeah, look at that. We've got a few more requests. Okay. I think I already did 37, but I just got another one for page 37. So let's see. What do we have on page 37? Maybe not. Okay. That could be fun. There's a yeah, okay, I'm just gonna pick a nice easy quote from the top. So, good fortune Farland O'Mara is nothing like his daughter, said Riven. I didn't do the character voice like I do on the audiobook, but you get the idea. Um, yeah, fun dynamics there. I really like Farland O'Mara and his daughter Miriam. Very fun characters in the story. And very fun for the series to follow. So that's the fun thing about writing a prequel novella is it really let me flesh out the world to come and the characters to come before even writing the main story. Uh, I'm really excited for the depth that that introduces to a story that I had already started writing. What follows this title still I don't have a title for it because I think I was going to call that Skyfold, and I was like, no, Skyfold is what this needs to be called. Makes way more sense. So now I don't have a title for my next book in the series, but that's okay. Uh, it's gonna be fun. I already have the I would love an illustrated cover for that because I already know what it has to look like. So that's gonna be great. But okay, let me copy that. That's from page 37. Page 37 for Thorman here. Um, chapter 4. Here we go. Yes. Good fortune, Farland O'Mara is nothing like his daughter. Cool. There we go. What else? Da, da, da. Yeah. Okay. Um, yeah. Can you tell multitasking is not my forte? Not always true, but okay. 54. Got another request from Josh. So Josh said already overbooked. Let's see. We've got 54. Yeah, like I said already, this is a fun way for me to double check the formatting and everything on the interior of the paperback. Um, so that's why I'm not just doing it in the file. Okay, yeah, page 54. Um, okay, two possible ones. Yeah, okay, I'm trying to stay away from just pure world building quotes or character reveal quotes and just go for more tease quotes if I can find them on the page. So in this case, uh, they looked to each other, beaming, eager and ready to claim their due from the sovereigns. Totally ambiguous. You have no idea what's going on. So it's great. It's perfect. Nice teaser. Okay. Um, 54. That's what I want. Scroll down. From chapter 5, Sauvail. Yeah. I don't want to say too much, but there are tie-ins between this and the fall of Sylvandria, or that the world at least. Um, I can't say more than that. Yeah, I cannot say more than that. Um, Perfect. There we go. Yeah, so that's been fun. I was talking with another author, excuse me, who has a few series out and says that they're all related, even though by appearances they seem to be in different worlds. And I like that. And I actually intentionally, not joking, but when I added chapters to the Rise of Dresca, which is now part one of the Fall of Sylvandria, there's a very specific, am I shoot? It's maybe a bit of a spoiler, or it's not a spoiler. It's a reveal. I'm revealing the Easter egg. Not really. Yeah, because there's a bunch of added chapters in that. One of the added chapters sows the seed for this series for Skyfold. So there's an added chapter in the Fall of Savandria that adds very necessary context for that book that also sows a little hint of this book. That's all I can say. Yeah, everyone trying to be Sanderson now. Yeah, well, I mean, it's fun. It's just a fun little thing for those who notice. In case someone ever actually likes your books, they might like finding hints that link them. I don't know. I like finding those things in people's books. So yeah, I'm more optimistic that it'll matter to readers in this case because I think people will really like this book. So yeah, maybe those who find think people will read read the Fall of Savannah, be like, okay, I like that, complex and a lot went over my head. I'll read it again, maybe not. Okay, that's the reaction I get from a lot of people is like, okay, that was really good, but whoa, there's a lot. Okay, huh, and then they take a step back, and that's fair enough. Whereas like this, I think some people are going to be like, okay, it still has fantasy names. It feels like an epic fantasy book, but it's very quick paced and it's very lots of character development, lots of fun going on, lots of exposition, way more than I was giving in the Fall of Savandria. And then they'll be like, oh, I really like this. I think I see what you did. I think I see the connection. Oh, okay, that's cool. Like it's just a little nod to those who managed to make it through the Fall of Sylvandria. It's just a little extra reward, to say thank you for sticking with me. I'm glad you're still here for the ride, and hopefully it's just getting better. That's all. That's all. Okay, so that was page 54. 77. 77 from Grace Walker. Okay, right at the end. Oh, see that? Yeah, you got to be careful with the end ones because big spoilers everywhere. Okay. Total spoiler. I can't give anything from the first paragraph at all. This is tough, Tim. How do you do this? How do you pick quotes that don't totally ruin the story from any page? Uh, okay, there's an easy cop out I could use. I might. Uh, no, it's too easy. There we go. Perfect. Does not reveal anything while having some fun. So, had the people of Orlad not been preoccupied with the exiles, watching them pull wagons down the winding eastern pathways, they might have noticed a robed figure slipping into the Sauvail estate by way of its forgotten wing. There you go. Nice mystery, but if you know the context in the books, like, oh, this is about to get good. Yeah, so that's fun. Okay, 77 bottom. Let's grab this from the document and copy it in. Whoops. $77. Yeah. Definitely one of the longer sentences in the book. Um, it's been tougher with, yeah, like, yeah, well, sentence variety is something I always go for. When I initially wrote Rise of Dresca and Seize the Zova, they were much punchier by design, too far in that direction, I would say. Um, like, it's so funny how much my mentality has changed since then. I'm like, oh, what, like, all the sentences are grammatically correct, easy to follow, but too punchy, way too truncated, way too choppy. Um, Corrected that to a point in the Fall of Sylvandria, but there wasn't enough content variation. So there was a lot of description, a lot of action, and a lot of dialogue. Not enough internal dialogue and not enough exposition to give that extra level, and not enough. You can use flashbacks for that. You can use internal exposition, internal dialogue, reflection. There's a lot of different things you can use to give that variation of content, not just sentence structure and not just sentence length. Anyways, with all those tools now, uh, this because of the playful tone, I think the sentences are still, for the most part, very easy to follow, mostly short. So there are a few long ones, but even those, I was very like they're very digestible. Whereas the horror piece, it's like especially for a horror audience, you still want that simplicity, but it's also very dark, epic fantasy. Uh, and finding that blend has been tough. Like I'm having to, well, I just find there is more. I'm straying long more than I would like and having to edit those down. Sometimes splitting them, but sometimes keeping them. Sometimes it is just the right way to present something. You just have to be careful of clarity. The longer your sentence drags on, the more chances are you've introduced ambiguity, or the more chances you've overloaded the sentence with prepositions, or too many just additional detail phrases, like prepositional phrases, but ones that add little details that really belong somewhere else, or just don't belong at all. You as the author have those things in your mind when you visualize or imagine the story taking place, but the reader doesn't always need that. Let them fill in the blanks. uh, if it especially if it helps a sentence be more digestible, let them read, like let them actually take a breath while they're reading. um, yeah, so playing around with that, playing around with structure. But I'm just finding more of those like weirdly constructed longer sentences slipping into this horror piece. And I don't know why that is. Like the last few horror pieces I've read, maybe one has been like that. The other two definitely have not been. Uh, could just be some of my fantasy reads of late have influenced me, maybe, but I don't know. I don't know. Just trying to be very mindful of that because it's a trap. Anyways, you can fall into. I don't think I fell into it in this one, but in the horror piece I'm writing, yeah, I have to. I have to keep the atmosphere. I want like a goth. That's what it is. It's more. I'm trying to create a gothic atmosphere to the story, but the danger is it's so tempting to overwrite to create that atmosphere and just end up with convoluted purple flowery language everywhere, and I do not want that at all. That's not my style, that's not my personality. um and if you force yourself to be someone different in your book, it just, yeah, not what I want to do. Anyhow, yeah, brilliant. Okay, let me respond to some quick comments here. Yeah, yeah. um cool. And again, for those who were here earlier, I can't say that now. I say cool because of Abed in Community. And now when I think of that, I can't not think of the scene I just wrote in my horror story, which I won't. It took way too long to give that ramble earlier in this stream, so I won't do it again. But it's a fun thing to throw into the story. Um, a little tribute to Community, actually, and then a tribute to things I have witnessed in my life, not just personally, but other people too. Yeah, there's inside stories that you can't always say as an author, that influenced something you wrote. And in this case, it's one of those. It's like I know someone who went through something, and I'm like, oh, you poor person, you poor guy. You want to smack them over the back of the head, and you also want to just give them a big hug. One of those situations, and you don't know which to do. You're like, do I give you a quick swat, or like, you know buy you a drink, give you a night on this. I don't know. What do you how do you anyways. Poor Sod. Poor guy. Hopefully he never reads the story because I bet he would recognize his contribution. He's not it's not again, I never base anything on just one person. I'll always like blend elements and make it true to the story, true to the world. Usually multiple people will influence a single scene. But in this case, it's just clear cut enough that this person could be like, "Hey, that reminds me of that time that, yeah, yeah, did you you jerk." It's gonna be great. We would get a good laugh out of it, I think, but yeah, I like to keep those elements of influence subtle if I can. Um, yeah. Anyways, okay. Making a quick reply here. Yeah, cool. Da, da, da. So good. Yeah. Again, everyone just coming through. Really love it today. It's been I really appreciate the support. Um, yeah, and I don't know why. I don't know why I get such a thrill out of that snarky post, but I really I just enjoyed writing it. It was one of those times where you're just like, that was even if no one likes this and thinks it's lame and stupid, I just liked saying, the algorithm and our evil overlords don't want you to see this epic cover reveal. Light the beacons. Don't let evil win this day. Something like. Anyways, yeah, that was a fun post. Ah, well, Gondor calls for aid, and everyone answered. So thank you. Okay, we are coming on. We are past. I've been on for 2 hours. I've been rambling for 2 hours and 16 minutes now, and that brings us to. Let me see. So 3:30. So 7. We are now at the 7 hour mark that I've been waiting for the pre-orders to go live. Um, yep, still says publishing. Let's see. Again, sometimes one Amazon site is quicker than the other. So that's a no. Yeah. I'm thinking no dice. Hmm. Cool. Yeah. So that's a no. Oh well. Man, okay, side note, people were complaining recently about changes to the algorithm or like Amazon changed the way the time frame within which page reads and purchases impact your rating on the site. And I've noticed that it dramatically uh like the same amount of page reads or buys that I'll get in a day don't have anywhere near as much impact on the ratings as they used to. Like if I got 200 page reads in a day, it used to bump me up by probably 50 to 100, rankings in specific genres, right? Whereas now the book is just even with the same page reads per day, even with a few sales per day, it's just steadily going down the rankings. So for whatever reason, Skyfall or sorry, the Fall of Sylvandria, yeah, has been taking a bit of a hit just the last like 2 or 3 days, even with steady sales and page reads. So I'm kind of like, oh, that's interesting. Um, Gotta up my game, I guess. Hopefully this book will do that. But frankly, yeah, well, no, I don't want to say that. Yeah, I'm at a very weird place with the Falls of Andrea right now, where it's like, you know, it's the only book I have live right now, but it's not where I want my focus to be. Like I'm writing other things. Uh, I'm writing the prequel, which is going to be a freaking banger, and then I'm working on the sequel. So I still have to market the first book because why else would someone read the second book if they haven't read the, I don't know. It's tough. You want to move forward, but you're you're attached to the very first thing you put out. Yeah. Well, I mean, not the very first thing in my case, and I'm very proud of the fall of Sylvandria, but uh, I still had a lot to learn. I still do have a lot to learn. All you can do, like you keep pushing forward, and Well, I don't know. Like I'm always going to be in a position where I need to keep selling that book, and I want to. It's just, yeah, yeah. The book and I have an interesting relationship right now. Not a bad one. Just um, I think what will give it new life for me is finishing this prequel because oh my gosh, the prequel adds new depth that a lot of people wanted, but also that they're not going to expect as they're reading this book. They're not going to realize uh, how much it impacts the story of the fall of Sylvandria until they're through. And when the revelations come, it's going to be like, oh, so all this character development, that's the thing. All the character development and plot development, like not just the plot, character and exposition world, not just world building, but depth, like depth of emotional connection between events and characters and people. When you read when you there's going to be a few nods to things in the next in the Fall of Savandria in the horror book, but most of the characters are new. Most of the story feels within the same world, but feels separate. And only as you progress through are you going to realize just how essential it all is to what follows. And I think the payoff is huge. Like for example, the main character of the Fall of Sylvandria, Valderis Draskar, you will never look at him the same again after reading the prequel. Just you won't. And like, you know, um like yeah, it's not his story. It's not at all his story. And yet the impact on who he is enormous. Huge payoff there. Huge payoff with a few other key characters. Huge payoff with yeah, like I will want to say more. I don't want to say more than that. It's just yeah, and not always good payoff. Like some of the payoff is like, oh, that hurt. I hope it hurts. I hope some of it really hurts. A good kind of hurt, but the kind where you're like, oh, okay, that makes this event that takes place in the Fall of Savandria uh, hit a little more home. World building that I could have, or sorry, not world building, exposition that I could have done in the Fall of Sylvandria, but it would have felt out of place. I think this prequel is the right place to tell the story. Um, so it's fun. Anyways, we'll see what people think. Okay. Yeah. So like I said, I'm coming up on 2.5 hours and 7 hours with no notification and no yeah, it's still listed as pre-order publishing. What can you do? That's all good. All good. Again, if today is just the cover reveal and giving out review copies, win. Because I've already had requests for review copies from like top tier friends and authors and reviewers in the community. So I'm like, that's already gonna give the book a nice big push right around the time it goes live. So that's a huge win for me today. And just how many people came through on reposting this, like that's been really encouraging. uh yeah, yeah, anyways, it's been a really I don't I wasn't in a how do I put this? Like I wasn't expecting nothing today. I have to admit I wasn't expecting this much good. Uh, which again is not. I don't like. I'm very proud of this story. I think this deserves to be read. I think this deserves to become a freaking hit. Will it? I don't know. I really don't know. I think the people who read it are going to tell their friends. I think the people who read it are going to love it. But there's much more at play in the lovely but chaotic world we live in that can influence the marketability of a book or an author for that matter. And so yeah, I don't know, my expectations are in a weird place right now where it's like I hope it does well, but if it didn't I wouldn't be like devastated. I'd be kind of like, well, okay, that sucks. It's just a day in the life. But hey yeah, so anyways, like all that to say, today's been really, really, really encouraging. Just how many people have come through and been total badasses, just posting this out, and yeah, cheers everyone. So okay, I'm gonna do one, well, maybe two more, depending on if I get more. So one more quote. So request from KB Carlisle for page 28. So let's get a quote from page 28. Okay. This is from chapter 3. We're on chapter 3 here. Yeah, chapter 3, Tobanidara. Yeah, so again, I'm trying to go for more teasers than anything that spoils. Let's see, what do we got? Okay. I mean, the moment you yeah, I don't think that's too much of a spoiler. Okay, two options here. I'm gonna go with this one. Okay, so the lighter option, I'll just read it here. I won't post it on to the person who asked me to post an excerpt. So the one I could have said, it not impactful enough. It just says, Isaac and Miriam, answered Cabot. What in the sovereign hell are they doing? You know, just just introduces two characters. Well, it doesn't introduce them, but I think it's the first you physically see them in this story. Is that quote right there? And what in the sovereign hell are they doing? Anyways, that's yeah. So that's not enough of a fun. Okay, so the quote I'm gonna give is uh, rippling light in reds and purple intensified with each chime from the sovereign, its power echoing in their minds and nearly forcing Cabot to his knees. There we go. I think that's a good quote. That's yeah. I'll leave it at that. Perfect. Okay, 28. I know where that is. Cool. And again, it's a nice way for me to check the formatting and this and everything like that on the inside of the physical copy of the book. Okay. Yeah. So far I've been very happy with how this looks. I think the formatting is a big improvement on the Fall of Sylvandria too. Had some people tell me they loved the way I formatted that, and some people yeah, are very attached to certain fonts and very hostile towards others and to those who use them, as it turns out. Whew. Yeah. Author life, things you don't expect to create drama. I'm not even like, anyways, yeah. Good times. Okay, here's the quote. Rippling light in reds and purple intensified with each chime from the sovereign, its power echoing in their minds and nearly forcing Cabot to his knees. Yeah, that's perfect. There we go. Nice little tease. That's all I wanted it to be. Cool, 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 cool. Hmm. Awesome. Okay, I have to say that, yeah. So, um, yeah, J.L. Engel is one of the authors who makes fun of me for not swearing enough. I'm sure Bats is another. You're here, so maybe E.L. Well, E.L., you swear a lot in stories, but I don't think you've ever given me trouble for not swearing enough. Whereas J.L. definitely likes to troll me for this. Like, and me being me, I'm like, can I even hit repost on this? I don't know, but I think I have to. So I'm going to. But YouTube might even be mad at me for saying this. I don't know. But he reposted my cover reveal post saying, "Look at this gorgeous cover." Now, bear in mind too, the post I made saying, you know, like fight evil, fight the powers that are trying to hide this from you, and that whole funny post I made earlier, and I talked about that on the stream. So, with that in mind, he made this post. He said, "Look at this gorgeous cover. Hot damn." Hashtag fuck evil. Hashtag Tim wins. Hashtag eat shit Steve. That's freaking. I have to repost that. I do. So there goes my propriety out the window. Yeah. I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. That's that. There you go. Ah, yeah, that's a good. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so that's it for page number requests. I don't think anyone else has posted any. Um, yeah, and I think I've done my due. I have waited a solid. Well, here I've waited now 2.5 hours, 20 seconds away from 2.5 hours on the dot, which brings us to 7 hours, 15 minutes of waiting for them to finally put it live. So that's okay. Probably going to be tomorrow or tonight. Who knows? I'll check in again in a little bit. But yeah, I've talked and rambled alone, and with those of you who've been in the chat on and off, it's all like But that was a good way to spend the afternoon. Again, I was not productive today because exciting. It's super exciting to do something like this. Finally, have another book on the market, and one that I'm really really proud of. So this is very cool. It's a very fun feeling to have again. Um, yeah, but that also means that, like, I'm already I'm ahead on my paid editing work, so, like, I can take the day off without consequence, and, other work, yeah, no, I got ahead of other work last night because I knew I would not be productive today. So I worked that's yeah, I probably could have gotten more sleep if I didn't try to get ahead yesterday, but that is okay. Um, yeah, because just the way things are, it's always busy with a launch or even a pre-order launch or a cover reveal. Cover reveals actually, in my experience, they take more energy than clicking publish because by then you've already set everything up and labored over it and anguished over it for months. So it's a very small, quick process to click publish. Whereas, um, yeah, managing a cover reveal and managing a launch on social media, bit different. Like that's where the energy really goes. So yeah, today was a write off from the beginning. So I tried to edit, I tried to do a little writing, and just nothing, no productivity whatsoever. This is me just dicking around for 2.5 hours. Wanted to have some fun, talk to people about the book. So those who've been here, hopefully it was fun. Hopefully it wasn't a total waste of your time either. Yeah, and thank you so much for those who did stop in. For those watching, hopefully this wasn't just totally a waste of your time. Hopefully it was a good time. Um, I definitely had fun, but after 2.5 hours, my voice and I'm tired. So I think I'm going to sign off and I'll check in again. I will post on X. I'll post elsewhere too, obviously, but I'll post on X with news the moment the pre-order goes live. So stay tuned. Again, the actual date. So the actual publishing date for the ebook, hardcover, and paperback. Paperback being what I was showing off today. Um, so obviously the hardcover is a little thicker. You get a better view of the title. Prices 99 cents for the ebook, 6.99. Let me double check. 6.99 US dollars for the paperback, 12.99 for the hardcover. Um, the so those will all three of those versions will come out on the 15th of August. So 2 weeks from today, and then now there might be a way to get the audiobook published that day. I doubt it. It's more likely going to come 2 weeks after, just the way ACX works. So I'm trying to find a way, but talking with others, it's very tricky. If you're well established, ACX will do it for you the same day the book goes live. Like that's the thing. The audiobook is ready. So anyone who wants a copy right now, a review copy, like just to listen to and give a quick review, doesn't matter how long, it's ready. But for those waiting for Audible, if you have a credit to spare, you just want to buy it there. I don't know what the price will be because they set the price. But yeah, that will most likely it should be live by the end of August. The audiobook, even though I already have it done. It's been done for like a month, but c'est la vie. All part of the game. So which is kind of nice too. I get to build a little extra momentum for the book 2 weeks later. So works out, but I wanted to have everything ready at the same time if doable, which in this case it was. It would be hard to do that for longer novels, but we'll see. You know, like yeah, it's because it takes a long time to edit audio. So that's the real to record takes a little like a good amount of time, but not that much. Like quite a bit, but not as much as editing. Um, Yeah, so for longer books, by the time you're done editing the book, like, and then you start recording, Yeah, I'm still going, Isaac. I'm just blame Amazon. Amazon has not. I'm about to go off, but yeah, Amazon has still not put the pre-order live, which is okay. Today is just about the cover reveal and getting review copies out there to people, so it's all good. All good. You know, Amazon and I are every second that passes, tension between us grows, but that's okay. That's okay. Jokes aside, yeah. So jokes aside, ebook, paperback, and hardcover will be available on August 15th. So stay tuned for that. I will post the moment the pre-order is live, unless it's like at 2 in the morning, in which case I'll wait till you get it. Yeah, and audiobook will be coming by the end of the month. And all of that will be out right on time for Sphinx. So that's really exciting. This will be my well, no, I was going to say my first contest, but that's not true. I actually I forgot. I genuinely forgot. I even paid money to enter. Like you pay, I think it's 20 bucks, 40 bucks. I can't remember the entry fee for BBNYA. Uh, but I entered the Follow Sylvandria into that and I forgot. I was just like, oh, maybe it'll advance, maybe it won't. I didn't even know if it would make it through the first round. Uh, and I forgot. I genuinely forgot. So when I got the email from them saying, "Congratulations, you made it to they call it the semifinals, but there's 80 something, 81 of us." So not quite I don't know. That doesn't quite feel like the semifinals yet, but it's the next round. It means they liked the first 2,000 words, and now they judge based on the first 10,000 to get to the next level. So it's a fun process. It's fun. And I'm very fond of the first 2,000 and the first 10,000 words of the book. So I think I have an okay chance. But I forgot. So when I got the email, I was like, oh, right. I entered this contest. Um, yeah. Love the cover and the quotes. Yeah. Hey, KB. Cheers. Yeah. I mean, like I'm saying already, the pre order may or may not be live by the end of the day. It should have been live hours ago. It's just Amazon being Amazon, but at the very least, yeah, like it'll be available on the 15th. Audiobook will be available probably 2 weeks later, and then yeah, whenever after that, no rush. Um, but that's the schedule we're on. Yeah. What else was I saying? That's it. That's it. It's just right now in a bit limbo. So this was just me having some fun. Thanks for everyone who stopped in. Stay tuned. Be sure to pre-order if you can. 99 cents for the ebook. Every little bit, helps the algorithm though. So even if you want a physical copy, it would help. But what else? I think that's it. I think that's all the fun I've had. Thanks to everyone. I'll still be doing quotes. I'll try to keep an eye on that through the day. So if you still want a quote from a page number, any page number in the book from 1 to 82, that's how long it is. It's an 82-page book, just under 24,000 words. So nice bite-sized morsel. Feel free to drop a page number and I will give a quote. Try not to do more than one because I don't want to run out of quotes to give without spoiling anything. But so far, there have been a lot of fun teasers. So you can go to that post and you can see a bunch of quotes already, get a taste for what's to come. But I think so far it's just been teasers, which is good. I don't want to spoil too much. And yeah, again, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And I am genuinely like, yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'm genuinely blown away by the support today. It has meant a lot. Really appreciate everyone just being there. Yeah. The thing I think because we're online and we talk to each other through posts and comments, it feels like the truth is the author life, especially if it's all you do. Like all I do is my teaching, but that's on and off. Like I'm not teaching because it's summer months right now, and I don't have a contest that I'm judging for, and I'm just editing for clients. But that's like you talk to them a few times here and there. You check in, you let them know where you're at, but it's an ongoing relationship. But like other than that, the author side of my life is isolating, right? You know you have YouTube chats, that I have with Isaac and the authors who come on, and I talk with people on X. But other than that, the author side of my life just feels it can some days are more isolating than others. And it's been one of those stretches, I think, on my end. So getting this much community support and this much hype built up, like very, really, really encouraging. Yeah, really appreciate it. You're all awesome. Thank you so much for coming through. and I hope that this story is sufficient gift in return. I really do. I think people are going to be happy with it. I hope you'll enjoy it. You know, like really poured my heart and soul into making it a fun piece of a fun morsel of goodness and heisty fun, like a good fantasy heist that I think it's going to surprise you. It's going to have some heartfelt moments. It's going to have some depth. But it's also going to just give you a good time. So that's my gift. I hope you enjoy it, and more fun to come very soon. Horror next, but uh, then I do want to get to the sequel for this. The actual first book in the series for this will come next year. So stay tuned. More to come. Thanks everyone for coming. And yeah, and we, all caps. So myself and Isaac, we will be back on next Thursday. So we'll see you all then. Cheers, everyone.